Reggie Slack wants that one caught. Can't throw it much better.
Paul McCallum, who missed from 49 yards earlier, will now try one from 50 yards. This to get Saskatchewan on the board with 6:45 to go in the first quarter. Steve Sarkisian is the holder. And he's once again missed it to the left. Now will Coleman bring it out again? And this time he'll kneel down. Saskatchewan will get a point, but the Riders have had excellent field position and not much to show for it so far.
Centuries ago, the humble potato was praised for its nutrition and worshipped for its delicious taste. Discover the new golden standard that's making modern history. Introducing McCain Home Fries. All the deep fried flavor of your favorite fry. Crispy outside, moist potato flavor inside. Crispy McCain Home Fries. They could change history. Taste it and believe it.
You remember Jay. He still doesn't say very much, especially when he's enjoying his McCain Super Fries. And he doesn't seem to care that they've only got 5% fat because they still taste great. McCain Super Fries, deep fried flavor and crispness with only 5% fat. For the strong, silent type.
Friday night football tonight.
Welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The Stampeders are 5-0 this year against West Division teams, including 2-0 against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Calgary on a major roll, coming off back-to-back wins over Edmonton and leading here 7-1. On first down, Jeff Garcia play action fake to Kelvin Anderson, and now Garcia in trouble. Unloads it there for Alan Pitts, and Pitts makes the catch in front of Shannon Garrett. But it'll be not much of a gain, if anything.
Well, when you roll out as a quarterback, the upside is that you move the pocket around and you keep that defensive line guessing. The downside is you're only playing with half of the field and half of your receiving core now. Garcia really only had 2 targets. They were both pretty well covered. He just had to try and dump that one away.
Mark it as a gain of 1. It's 2nd and 9. Garcia, lots of time, has a man through the hands of Kelvin Anderson, but what's interesting is that Terry Vaughn was streaking up the sidelines behind him and was wide open.
Well, Garcia turned and threw that one right on time in the seam. It wasn't a whole big target for him to hit Kelvin Anderson, so he had to throw it on time, which is why he didn't see Terry Vaughn down the field.
Jeff Garcia, the 2nd-ranked passer in the league behind Kerwin Bell, leads the league with 17 touchdown passes on the year. But Tony Martino will have to punt again. And once again, the dangerous Curtis Mayfield is back to receive. And Dave Ewell calls a halt to things before the ball was kicked away. Well, we heard Wally Buono last week talk to our Ken Chillibeck on the sidelines about how angry he was about penalties.
Illegal procedure, Calgary number 9. Still 3rd down.
And here's another. Uncharacteristic of a Wally Buono coach team, and he said his wife gave him heck last week for losing it on the sideline. Well, giving it to the sideline official last week, and his wife saw it, and Mrs. Buono didn't appreciate that too much.
And he's back at it again tonight, early in this one. And the blackout is lifted, so if she's watching here or at home, she'll see that.
Martino gets a good kick away, sends Mayfield all the way back to the 27-yard line. And Mayfield will step out of bounds at the 33, a 44-yard punt and a 6-yard return. Kicking that ball 44 yards is like kicking a cantaloupe that far. in this kind of soggy weather. And Jim Daly hopes for more from his offense. And while we have a moment, let's take you down to the sidelines to Sherry.
Thanks, Gordon. Glenn, I talked to head coach Jim Daly yesterday. He said that his team was absolutely demoralized after last weekend's loss to Winnipeg, which you can imagine. He says that's made them more determined than ever for a victory tonight against Calgary. He says the key to that victory is coming out fast and early to gain some confidence, which they probably didn't get right away with that touchdown, as well to play all 60 minutes, which they didn't do last weekend.
Give on first down.
Sean Daniels,
goes Sean Daniels, and Daniels gets maybe a couple as Jim Daly looks on. And interesting to note that Alondra Johnson, the Calgary linebacker, had some rather pointed comments about the Saskatchewan Roughriders this week. He said those guys are going to have to be ready. If they don't, it's going to get ugly. They'll play harder or we'll run up the score.
And you know Saskatchewan heard that and will use that to try and motivate them. But I would have to agree with Alondra Johnson.
Slack under pressure, and he is sacked. Fine, no, he's out now. But Slack still going, unloads it, and it's complete to Don Narcisse. How'd he get out of there? Jason Clement was doing his sack dance already, but Slack got away.
Reggie Slack is very strong. Here's Jason Clement, who's going to go on the blitz. He's going to get to Slack and have him all wrapped up. But Slack, who bench pressed 225 pounds 25 times this year in training camp, brushes Clement off with his left arm, just pushes him to the ground and says, not today. Gets to the outside and somehow finds Narcisse.
A gain of 19 yards. Saskatchewan just on its own side of midfield. Back they go to Narcisse again, this time on William Hampton's side, and not much doing there as Narcisse has a gain of 5.
Well, obviously the game plan for the Calgary Stampeders is to send some pressure at Reggie Slack. Ray Jacobs gets in the backfield, a nice swim move. He's back there along with the rest of that group from the front four from the Calgary Stampeders, but they have sent a lot of pressure. They send Alondra Johnson and Jason Clement.
There's Ray Jacobs, the late cut of the Denver Broncos, who's arrived in Calgary and, as you mentioned, has made himself indispensable as a starter. 2nd and 5, Slack. Back across the middle he goes, and there is Dan Farthing with the catch. And Farthing close to a first down, maybe half a yard short.
Well, Dan Farthing lined up on the right side of the formation that time. Primarily, he lines up on the left and hasn't had a lot of action. He came into the game with just 39 catches on the season. And if you can look at that total, Narcisse, Mayfield play on the right side.
Saunders in the backfield.
Right, they have 104 catches. Farthing and Thompson play on the left side with just 51 catches. If there is a knock on Reggie Slack, it's that he's a little right-handed.
And Farthing was half a yard short. It'll bring up 3rd and short. And we've seen a few of these misfire in the last couple of weeks. Think about the Montreal Alouettes, who were stopped on 3rd and goal at the 1 last week, and Hamilton drove the ball 109 yards on them. And in the game we did last Friday, David Archer stopped on a 3rd down gamble that was a key part of Edmonton's loss to the Calgary Stampeders.
That's such a big momentum swing when you can hold a team on a 1-yard gamble.
Slack trying to draw Calgary offside, and flags are down as Slack gets across the 45-yard line and should have the Saskatchewan Roughrider first down. This is an evening more suited to Seabass than CFL football, but the field here at McMahon Stadium is very wet in the portion that Saskatchewan is on now. Offside was the call against Steve Anderson, and so Slack would get the first down anyway.
And it's more of a concern for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Gordon, when you consider that Mike Saunders is out of their lineup. When you get a wet day, you want to control the football along the ground, and right now they're going with backup Darren Joseph, the tailback position. Saunders is probably a week away.
Slack on first down. Under pressure, and this time he will not get away. Ronzel Miller with his 6th sack of the year, and that time Calgary made sure it wrapped up the Saskatchewan quarterback.
They don't get a lot of sacks, but they do get a lot of pressure. Steve Anderson leads the team. Bronzell Miller leads the team in sacks and also has 6 pressures coming into this game. They're always in the backfield, and they've played real well in the last 5 or 6 weeks and silenced a lot of critics here in Calgary.
What's strange, though, is that despite the effectiveness of Calgary's defense, the Stamps have not had a lot of quarterback sacks, tied with Saskatchewan for last in the league with 21. Slack, quarterback draw, has some room, gets a block, but look who got him. Jason Clement stuck the right hand out and prevented Reggie Slack from getting to the first down marker.
Well, Jason Clement on a blitz took Reggie Slack early. He took him up high and was pushed down by Slack's strength. This time, he's right to the right here in your screen. He's going to take off. This time, he's learned from his first mistake and will go low in the tackle around the legs of Reggie Slack and bring him down.
Jason Clement, a native Edmonton who played at Simon Fraser University, was the Stamps' first-round pick in 1997. Replacing the vocal Anthony McClenahan, a middle linebacker for Calgary. Third long field goal try for Saskatchewan. McCallum from the 48. Got it. Slippery field and all. Paul McCallum puts it through, and Saskatchewan, despite being badly outplayed so far, is down just 3. And we've talked a little bit about the weather that we've seen here in Calgary. It's been a beautiful summer here in southern Alberta, but when fall came, it came with a vengeance. This was just before 6 o'clock when the hail fell here at McMahon Stadium. It was really something because it came right out of nowhere. And 10 minutes later, it was gone. But some of the players were playfully tossing snowballs around before the game. And the first sign that the cooler weather is coming. 45 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Jeff Garcia gives it off to Kelvin Anderson. And Anderson is brought down quickly by Dwayne Patterson. Mentioned a moment ago that one of the key adjustments that Calgary made last week was to keep Kelvin Anderson in as a blocker. Right. Wally Buono saying this week that that's the tribute to Kelvin Anderson, is how complete he is as a running back, a receiver, and a blocker.
That's right. I mean, last week, Rio Wells was blitzing from the secondary, and Kelvin Anderson was asked to come in and block him on a lot of the blitzes. It really helped their offense, and it's nice when you have a back with that kind of talent. He can do it all for you.
On second down, Garcia from the shotgun. Looking over the top for Vince Danielson, who turned twice. And that's the same play they ran on Tommy Henry earlier. The first time they drew an interference penalty. This time it falls incomplete.
Yeah, and this time Tommy Henry looked back to the football, realized that it was up and over, and really didn't have to jump on Danielson's back. He'll be the 6th DB, and they'll play a lot of it because of Calgary's passing game. See a lot of playing time tonight.
One thing Saskatchewan would like to see, more big plays from defense. Saskatchewan has the fewest interceptions in the league, as we mentioned earlier, tied with Calgary for the fewest sacks. Tony Martino is back to punt on what should be the final play of the opening quarter. Kind of an end-over-end kick. This is Ulmer from the 30. And he gets to above the 32-yard line before he's wrapped up by Greg Frères. And on the final play of the opening quarter, the Saskatchewan Roughriders will find themselves hemmed in once again, but down just 3 on Adidas Friday Night Football.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter.
Hey everybody, welcome to TSN Football Control. I'm James Duthie. As always, my good buddies with me, Mr. Tillman and Mr. Schultz. And, you know, despite the bad weather and everything, a very positive first quarter, I think, for Saskatchewan. After that debacle last week against Winnipeg, when they were just miserable in the fourth quarter, a very good start here. And I think Reggie Slack led the way. And, you know, we talk about wet weather and how it affects the grip on the ball. I think it must affect the grip on the quarterback as well, because Reggie slithers right out of this one very impressive play and a very impressive quarter, Eric.
Yeah, well, this just shows what a great athlete he is. And I mean, I'm really impressed with Reggie and the way he's played tonight. You know, he's made some very nice throws. His receivers just have to catch the football. You know, this time last year, there were a number of people that were calling for Reggie Slack's head, wanted Jim Daly to make the change. But he said, Reggie's my guy. And we all know how well he played after that. He really took that team to the Grey Cup last year, and I think he's played very well this year. Credit to Jim Daly for having guns to stick with Reggie Slack.
And I'm glad they did stick with Reggie. And when you look at him as a quarterback, he doesn't have a fast release. He has a very slow release, but he throws a nice, tight spiral. And in bad weather, that's so important into the November part of the season, because the tighter the spiral, the easier it is to complete the pass. But he still needs some help. Donald Narcisse has dropped the ball. Curtis Mayfield has dropped the ball. Darren Joseph has dropped the ball. You add those onto statistics, onto the yardage gains, you might have a touchdown instead of few missed field goals.
Lineman picks on the receivers again. Yes, despite the fact it's a positive quarter for Saskatchewan, they could have had 9 points. They only end up with 4. Let's send it back to Calgary now for second quarter action. Oh, Gord.
Oh, thank you, James. And just to reiterate what the guys were saying, only Jeff Garcia has thrown more touchdown passes this year than Reggie Slack. And one of the things Coach Jim Daly was saying this week is that Slack has a great rapport with assistant coach Cal Murphy. Those two are really on the same page.
Yeah, no question. Jim Daly and the Saskatchewan Roughriders have found their starting quarterback. Reggie Slack, 16 touchdown passes. The first time a Rider quarterback has done that since Tom Burgess threw 19 in 1994.
I asked Jim Daly yesterday who his quarterback of the future was going to be. He says, a lot of people ask me that because Slack's been around so long. He's only 30 years old.
Yeah, he's got a couple good years left in him.
Slack now on the run, throwing upfield, and once again it's Narcisse and William Hampton coming together, and that pass falls incomplete right in front of the aforementioned Cal Murphy, who looks on from the Saskatchewan Roughrider sideline.
Well, that's part of the reason that Reggie Slack has had success, is because Cal Murphy simplified the offense for him and tailored it to suit Reggie Slack's physical attributes. When you can do that and get on the same page, your offensive coordinator and your quarterback, you can have success.
And you've got to think that losing in Winnipeg last week to his old team was a bitter pill for Cal Murphy to swallow. On second down, Slack over the middle and incomplete, looking there for Dan Farthing, and Saskatchewan will be forced to punt. First quarter numbers are pretty indicative of the play on the wet field. One turnover by Saskatchewan on its opening possession led to Calgary's only touchdown march, and the time of possession actually favored the Green Riders.
Yeah, that's the good news for Saskatchewan. Although they don't have a lot of points to show for it, they are controlling the football and keeping it out of the hands of Jeff Garcia.
Saskatchewan has outgained its opposition in total yards in each of the last 3 games. Marvin Coleman takes the punt at his 35-yard line, looking for the corner. Here comes Coleman. And Marvin Coleman takes a long slide close to midfield, an 18-yard return of a 42-yard punt. And that underlines a major Saskatchewan problem we'll get to in a moment. We remind you that tomorrow Winnipeg takes on Toronto in week number 12 of the Canadian Football League season, 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And if you'd like tickets to the game tomorrow, there's the number you can call. And we can guarantee you the field will not be wet.
Well, I'm looking forward to that one because Troy Kopp will start in that game. And Kopp, of course, the quarterback who brought the Bombers back last week against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Jeff Garcia in the shotgun. Has time, looking over the top, and it is caught on the deflection by Alan Pitts. So Pitts on the tip drill makes the grab, and a gain of 9.
Well, it's interesting because you normally don't see 2 receivers that close together in pass patterns. They'll try and complement each other by spreading out more, and Pitts and Terry Vaughn were within 4 or 5 yards of each other, so someone made a mistake, but it turned out okay for Calgary.
6 receivers as they line up in the short yardage offense, and Jeff Garcia will simply take it ahead for the first down. But the point we made earlier about Saskatchewan is an interesting one. Paul McCallum's net punting average, once you take off his punting yards and subtract the return, is just 30 yards. We mentioned earlier that Calgary's is 43. On that occasion, the net was just 24 yards. And in the battle for field position, which is so important, Saskatchewan is losing ground.
Well, no question about it. When you think about maybe punting 15 times a game, you're giving up 10 to 15 yards every change in the punt. That adds up to about 150 yards over the course of a game.
First down for Garcia, looking to the sidelines for Pitts, and this time no one tipped it except for Pitts, and it goes out of bounds. And Shannon Garrett, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, was there on the coverage.
Well, Shannon Garrett has been the stable factor in that secondary. He's number 16, and he gets a nice close on Pitts when he breaks to the out. Great defensive backs have makeup speed, and when Pitts turned and broke to the outside, he had about a yard separation between him and Garrett, but Garrett made up the distance when the ball was in the air.
So far in the game, Calgary has not tested Saskatchewan much with the run, and the Riders have the worst run defense in the Canadian Football League. Second down, Garcia from the shotgun. Now on the run, and Garcia up and slinging, and that is almost intercepted by Tommy Henry. Saskatchewan, the only team in the league not in double figures in interceptions. Should have had one there.
Well, Tommy Henry obviously is assigned to cover Vince Danielson throughout this game. This is the 4th time they've been matched up together, and Tommy Henry gets the best of this jump ball and just doesn't come down with it. Danielson has to turn into a bit of a defensive back on the play and hit Henry, but make that interception. It's a big play coming the other way.
Rather than try a 52-yard field goal, Wally Buono will send out Tony Martino and the punting unit. Ulmer and Mayfield are once again back deep to receive. Martino angling for the sidelines, and it will go out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. So Calgary playing the chess game for field position. A 31-yard punt and no return.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won VTEX 900 megahertz digital cordless telephone with visual name and number call waiting caller ID, featuring 50 caller ID memory, 20 number speed dial storage, and backlit keypad. Or a Samsung Hi8 Hi-Fi stereo camcorder with color viewfinder, 12 times optical power zoom, built-in lens cover, and remote control. Simply treasured for now and for always. Simply Samsung. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
National Tilden, we believe that when it comes to renting a car, there's really only one place to go. Because at most major airports in Canada, National Tilden gets you in your car and on the road fast. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. National Tilden.
Latest in a long history of exceptional cars from Audi. The Audi A6.
Back at McMahon Stadium, Gord Miller with Glenn Suter, Sherry Hargrave, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are trailing in the football game and gradually losing the battle for field position. Jim Daly's team now starts just inside its own 14-yard line. Slack with the give to Darren Joseph, and Joseph is wrapped up quickly, and he'll get nowhere. A gain of 1 as Jeff Traversy, back in the lineup for the Calgary Stampeders, comes up to make the stop.
Well, Jim Daly had mentioned that he is not worried about putting Darren Joseph in the ball game in replacement of Mike Saunders. Joseph was a starter early in his career. He played 3 years with the Ottawa Roughriders, was the starting tailback there, and then spent the last 3 with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. His best year in '95, and he had close to 600 yards along the ground.
Slack has time, swings it out of the backfield for the fullback, Sean Daniels, and that falls incomplete. Saskatchewan will once again have to punt, and it brings up an interesting strategic decision here. Wally Buono elected not to kick the 52-yard field goal. Jim Daly has elected to try 3 from about that range.
Yeah, and when it's wet like it is here at McMahon Stadium, it's tough on the kickers on long field goals because they're tentative on their plant foot. They can't get right through it. So McCallum missed 2 early long ones. The ball goes back to where the miss occurred. Wally Buono elects to punt it and get the field position battle.
And now, thanks to that decision, Calgary should have great field position that might get even better as flags fly before that ball is kicked away. And of course, not to continue to batter the Green Riders, but last week, Paul McCallum not kicking the ball out of bounds cost the Riders dearly. Procedure is the call against Saskatchewan. The punt was returned for a touchdown by Eric Blunt when McCallum was instructed to kick the ball out of bounds. Illegal procedure is the call against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Mike Moore, number 19, was called.
Well, now Jim Daly and Paul McCallum have a decision to make. Do they give up the safety and the points, try and get field position back?
Well, they'll kick it away. And it's taken by Vaughn to the 35-yard line. He's pushed back to about the 39. A 31-yard punt, a return of 6, a net of just 25 for Saskatchewan.
Well, hello there and welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bose. The home run derby continuing today. Both Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire at 63 apiece. Sosa went 0 against the Reds at Wrigley this afternoon. McGuire and the Cards opening a set in Milwaukee tonight. And McGuire walked in his first at-bat and then came up again in the 4th.
There it goes! See you later! 64!
Wow, McGuire now has an incredible 175 home runs over the last 3 seasons. That's an average of almost 60 a year. Simply unbelievable. We'll be back right after this.
If you're single, the Chrysler Intrepid is a sleek and sexy car. If, on the other hand, you're married, it's a practical family car. Either way, it'll go 160,000 kilometers before its first tune-up. Which, if you're single, means it'll still be around when you finally meet someone special and suddenly need a practical family car. Or, if you're married, it'll still be around when your midlife crisis hits and you suddenly need a sleek and sexy car.
Saskatchewan coach Jim Daly really caught it earlier this year when in the overtime game against Calgary, he gave the Stampeders the win in both halves of overtime. And he may hear it now for electing to kick field goals when maybe he shouldn't have, as his team loses the battle for field position. Calgary sets up at Saskatchewan 36. Garcia from the shotgun. Lots of time for Garcia. Now he dumps it off for Kelvin Anderson and he drops the football.
Couldn't hold the pass from Garcia.
Well, it's an interesting point you make about Jim Daly and his decisions to kick those long field goals. And sometimes what the head coach will do will check with his kicker in that situation. He may think the strategy is to punt it and try and get the field position, but he'll ask the kicker, how do you feel about a 50-yarder on the wet turf? If Paul McCallum says, I want to go, I feel confident with it, he'll go with the kicker. I know that happened a lot when David Ridgway was kicking in Saskatchewan. So it's interesting to see how this will unfold for Jim Daly.
And the snap goes through Garcia's hand. And Jeff Garcia will give a lot of that field position back as he is stopped in midfield, a loss of 19 yards. And Garcia comes up limping.
19-yard loss.
We've talked about the downside of the shotgun. You have to look downfield at coverage and also watch the football. That one just gets to his right. That one will go right on Crysdale's stats. Bad snap by Jamie Crysdale, the center. Goes to the right. Jeff Garcia really didn't have a chance to get at it, but the shotgun, you run the risk of that kind of thing happening.
And now Jeff Garcia being checked by athletic therapist Pat Clayton, so it may have been an extra costly play for the Calgary Stampeders. Tony Martino will have to punt. Gets a good one away. This is Ulmer from his 13-yard line. And he can't get by Clement on the corner. Great play by Jason Clement, who brings him down to the 15-yard line. A 42-yard punt and no return for Ulmer.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win, and you could win $1 million or a 27-inch Zenith color television. A business navigator personal organizer from Casio, the Minolta Dimage Pick digital camera, Corning's Revere Pro Line cookware, or win a vacation trip for two to the Via Vallarta Hotel via Air Transat, courtesy of World of Vacations, Canada's #1 tour operator to the sun. Look for post-shredded wheat or Shreddies, Arriba tortilla thins. Now there's a million more reasons to shop at Safeway, today's better way.
Now there's a tire that can survive even this, the Goodyear Eagle F1 Run Flat. Even with no air pressure, Goodyear Run Flat technology lets you drive up to 80 kilometers at 85 kilometers per hour to safety, so you won't get stuck with a flat.
Now that proves a point, huh?
Eagle F1 Run Flat.
Don't try this at home, folks. Sorry.
Goodyear, Goodyear.
All week, your men gave you 100%. Make that 110. So tonight, you're taking them for a well-deserved night out. There's only one problem. You don't have the Dodge Ram Quad Cab. It's got 4 doors, a choice of 4 powerful engines, and plenty of room for up to 6 people.
I feel really close to you guys.
Calgary has just 7 and was concerned about number 7 as Jeff Garcia limped off the field.
Well, this is what happened. The shotgun gets behind him, and I believe it's Ernie Brown that will roll on his right leg. Ernie Brown right in that area right there gets the knee on Garcia's leg, but he is putting full weight on it now and likely return.
Green Riders start their own 16-yard line. Reggie Slack, lots of time over the middle, almost intercepted. Darrell Hall reached out and got a piece of it. And Saskatchewan got away with one there.
Yeah, I think so. Eddie Davis broke on Curtis Mayfield and hit him a little early, it looked like to me, but no blood, no foul, I guess, for Eddie Davis. You're going to see the matchup from the top of your screen. It's the post pattern right across the middle. And watch the contact a little early. There's the contact right there. Actually, it was Larry Thompson, the intended receiver. Maybe this was there a little bit early.
Now on second down, here comes the blitz, and Slack is down. Eddie Davis, and we've seen that so much from Calgary in the last few weeks. That blitz really gave the Edmonton Eskimos trouble, and Eddie Davis has his 3rd quarterback sack of the season.
Well, Slack's vision is occupied by the linebackers. That's his read, and he doesn't see Eddie Davis coming from the right of the screen. He's looking at the linebackers drop. He's thinking no blitz is coming, and here comes 29 Eddie Davis, and he registers his 3rd sack on the year.
That time, Slack couldn't get away. Now, does McCallum give up 2 here? And he'll kick it away again. This time, a better kick. Coleman from his 48. And Coleman dives down to Saskatchewan 42. A 36-yard punt. A return of 5. Once again, the net in the 30-yard range. And Calgary, once again, will have excellent field position as Jeff Garcia takes the field.
Dave Dickinson was warming up as soon as Garcia started to limp, but he'll put the coat back on and stay on the sideline. Garcia shook that one off.
Dickinson limping himself has a bad hip, and that might be part of the decision-making process for Calgary. Garcia from the shotgun. Drops it off underneath for Alan Pitts, and Pitts, a couple of great moves, still going. Pitts a first down to the 27-yard line. Alan Pitts with a pickup of 16 yards, and he's not having any trouble with the footing.
No, he's played out here in McMahon a few times. Not his first rodeo in this stadium. He definitely has the right footing on and does that one all by himself.
And we mentioned that in week number 7 against Saskatchewan, Stampeders had their own way, and so did Alan Pitts.
Yeah.
5 for 105.
Well, in 2 games versus Saskatchewan, he was 10 for 167.
Garcia gives it off to Kelvin Anderson. Here goes Anderson. Pushed out of bounds at the 12-yard line by Calgary linebacker Randy Swarczynski, but it's still a first down for Kelvin Anderson and a gain of 16.
Well, it's a nice play because Kelvin Anderson's going to head to the right. The linebacker, Ken Benson, 37, gets caught a little bit in the wash by a crack back block from Danielson. He can't get to the outside, and it's his job to cover Kelvin Anderson out of the backfield.
First down just outside the 10-yard line for the Stamps. 7.5 minutes to go in the first half. Calgary leads by 3. Garcia to the end zone. And almost caught there by Calgary's Aubrey Cummings. Cummings, who hasn't caught a pass in the last 2 games, very nearly had a touchdown grab there, but he was stopped by Shannon Garrett.
Well, Shannon Garrett is the veteran, and he's on against the rookie. Here he is right here. Shannon Garrett on Cummings. They're going to do the one-on-one battle on the seam route. And sometimes it just takes a little nudge at the right time, and Garrett just pulls that arm, gets the hand up just at the right time, and knocks it away from Cummings.
2nd and 10. And Garcia once again to the shotgun. All day to throw. Drops it off underneath. Terry Vaughn, touchdown. Terry Vaughn with his 4th touchdown catch of the year. Jeff Garcia with his league-leading 18th touchdown throw.
Credit the big boys up front for that touchdown. Red Childress, Rocco Romano, Jamie Crysdale, Jay McNeil, and Ron Meyer should all get a share of the game ball for that touchdown right there.
And finally, Calgary able to take advantage of the excellent field position it has had throughout this first half. Mark McLaughlin puts the point after up and good. Terry Vaughn coming off his first 100-yard receiving game of the year as Calgary's 2nd touchdown in this game.
Well, Terry Vaughn comes from the far side of the field all the way across the formation. When the field is 55 yards long, that takes some time. But Jeff Garcia has all day with no one in his face to wait for Vaughn to come all the way across and open up at the opposite side. He cannot complete this pass, and it's no play if he gets any pressure at all. Look at Fred Childress dominating his man. There's no pressure and no one in Garcia's face. He has all day to toss that one out there, and it'll be a long day for the Saskatchewan defense if Jeff Garcia gets time like that.
Jeff Garcia, who saw that shotgun snap sail past him and then came off the field limping, comes back with a vengeance as Calgary now has a 10-point lead, and the Stamps have been dominant when they have the lead. 5-0 this year when they lead at the half. And now you wonder if Saskatchewan's fragile confidence is starting to crumble.
Well, they need a drive, and they need it in this series.
Kickoff taken at the 15-yard line now. Here comes Curtis Mayfield, and Mayfield gets up to the 30-yard line. A 21-yard return of the 60-yard kickoff. Well, we talked about the field position Calgary has had. Just a 42-yard march that time. And Kelvin Anderson's 16-yard game was a big part of it. Terry Vaughn caps it off, 12-yard catch, and he was walking when he went into the end zone.
Well, when you look at that key play, that's the 2nd time in a row now that Kelvin Anderson's been involved in the key play, and don't think that Wally Buono won't notice that and go back more to Anderson. That little dump pass out of the backfield, involve him more in the running game. When Kelvin Anderson is involved, Calgary wins. Simple as that.
And Alondra Johnson made the comment that we showed you earlier that if Saskatchewan wasn't in it early, he felt that Calgary could really blow the Green Riders out. And now Jim Daly's got to try to keep his team in the football game here in the first half. And course, Johnson's comments came on the heels of what Anthony McClanahan said, that David Archer was washed up earlier this week. So the Stampeders are feeling flushed with success at 8-3.
Well, you know, they don't very often sweep the back-to-back series in Edmonton, so that will give you confidence for sure. And Alondra Johnson having a great year, and you know what? I agree with his comments. When the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who gave one away last week to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the fourth quarter, they can't compete early in this game. You know they will start to second-guess themselves and wonder if they can win again.
The Roughriders will start at their own 36-yard line, and that's about their average. They've only been across midfield twice. Slack on play action. Look out, Slack under pressure, and he is down. Ray Jacobs finished off what was started by Jermaine Miles and Bronzell Miller.
Well, great pressure by Ray Jacobs in the front four of the Calgary Stampeders, but as soon as Reggie Slack rolls to that side of the field on the bootleg, he has no one to throw to. See the top of your screen? Those guys are out of the picture because Reggie Slack has gone the other way. Now, for Mayfield to be involved, he's got to come harder across the field to get involved in Reggie Slack's sightlines.
2nd and 14. Draw play to the fullback, Sean Daniels, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage, but not much more than that. And Saskatchewan will once again have to punt.
Well, it's nice to roll out and keep the defensive lineman guessing, but when you take a guy like Curtis Mayfield out of the mix from a bootleg, we watch Reggie Slack. This is the play before. Now, for Reggie Slack, who's rolling the opposite way, Mayfield has to take off and run real hard across that seam, or he is a non-factor in the play, and now Reggie Slack really only has one target to that side of the field.
McCallum gets a low tumbling kick away. Bounces down to Terry Vaughn at the 41-yard line. And Vaughn, still fighting, loses the football. A loose ball, and Saskatchewan has it. Vincent Donaldson falls on the loose ball, and Saskatchewan gets a break with a first down at the Calgary 29 with 5 minutes to go in the first half.
It's only a big break for Jim Daly if they can capitalize on it. Doesn't happen very often, but in the wet turf, Terry Vaughn, usually very sure-handed in returns. Dan Rasevich again involved in the special teams tackles. He's, of course, leads the Riders in that category all time. And Vincent Donaldson, playing in the safety, also covering on kicks, has a shot at him on the tackle, gets up, and his second effort gives him the opportunity to pick up that fumble, and a big play for the Riders.
Chris Zarka, the backup fullback, knocked it out. First down, Slack to the sidelines, and Narcisse slipped. It's incomplete. Now, both these teams are playing a little bit out of character. Saskatchewan is second in the league in rushing, behind the Montreal Alouettes. But Saskatchewan has run the ball very rarely in this football game, just 4 times for 4 yards.
And part of the reason for that, Mike Saunders not in the lineup. Do they have the same confidence in Darren Joseph, especially after 2 fumbles last week? Cal Murphy has to decide if he wants to employ that running game with Joseph in the ballgame.
2nd and long. Here comes the Calgary blitz. They drop it off underneath. Great call, and Zarka fights his way down to the 20-yard line, and to the 17 he goes for a first down for Saskatchewan on a gain of 12. Chris Zarka, the man who forced the fumble a moment ago, has a big Saskatchewan first down.
It's a well-executed screen because Zarka is not accounted for in coverage. He's always the blocking fullback. He'll come up, look like he's blocking, just turn around, 33 picks it up, and then it's the secondary that has to make the tackle.
First down of the second quarter for Saskatchewan. Slack with time. Back to the sidelines. Dan Farthing makes the catch, still going. Farthing inside the 10, finally thrown out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Alondra Johnson makes the stop, but not before Farthing has a gain of 11 in his first and goal, Saskatchewan.
Well, Dan Farthing is going to ask to line up on the right side of the formation every single game, because all of a sudden number 10 is involved in the offense, and it's because he's over there on the right side.
Daly and Cal Murphy talking it over on the sidelines, and what a key turn of events for the Saskatchewan Roughriders after Calgary's touchdown.
They like quarterback draw down here.
1st and goal from the 7. Slack on the option. Close, but not in. He got down to the 1-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal from there.
Again, a well-executed play by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The option is on the linebacker to the outside, Darryl Hall. He has to make a choice as he comes up. Do I take the back? He goes to the back. Darren Joseph Slack keeps it, and now the great speed of Elijah Johnson and a good tackle by Eddie Davis keeps him out, but a well-executed play by the Riders.
We reached the 3-minute warning in Calgary. Stamps lead by 10, but the Green Riders are knocking on Adidas Friday Night Football.
If you're single, the Chrysler Intrepid is a sleek and sexy car. If, on the other hand, you're married, it's a practical family car. Either way, it'll go 160,000 kilometers before its first tune-up. Which, if you're single, means it'll still be around when you finally meet someone special and suddenly need a practical family car. Or, if you're married, it'll still be around when your midlife crisis hits and you suddenly need a sleek and sexy car.
Potholes, alignment killers.
My car starts shaking, it's time for an alignment.
I hate that shimmying thing.
For $44.95, you can get a honkin' boutonniere or a Midas alignment special.
You get a computerized wheel alignment,
rotate and balance all 4 tires, and a free written brake inspection.
A bad alignment can really chew up your tires.
This is merely a dramatization.
The mind, the body, and the car should all be aligned as one.
$44.95 for an alignment? That's a special occasion.
Daly and Cal Murphy talking it over on the sidelines, and not far from them is the man they would love to see in the Saskatchewan lineup right now. There is Mike Saunders, the tailback who is out with a bad knee.
Well, generally, Mike Saunders is going to get the rock down on the 2-yard line. No question about that. You want your best fullback or tailback with the ball in his hands when it's time to punch it in.
Large Saskatchewan gathering here. There's a lot of Green Rider fans tonight cheering Saskatchewan on 2nd and goal from the Calgary 2. Slack gives it off to the lead man. Touchdown! Sean Daniels goes in for the touchdown, and Saskatchewan takes advantage of the Calgary turnover to jump right back in the game. Sean Daniels with his 3rd touchdown of the year from 2 yards out.
Just power against power. The defensive line, offensive line battling it out in the trenches, and then big Sean Daniels just bowls his way in.
That's the old Veer offense. We saw the option on 1st down, the dive on 2nd, and that's a play as old as the game itself. McCallum puts the point after up and good, and with 2:44 to go in the first half, the Saskatchewan Roughriders trail this game by just 3 points in a game in which they have just 11 yards rushing.
Well, you get the big fumble, you want to capitalize on it, and Reggie Slack has done that, got some momentum back for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Vincent Donaldson comes up with the fumble recovery. Reggie Slack takes advantage and punches it into the end zone, and we got a game.
Asked Jim Daly yesterday if this season reminded him of last year, when, of course, Saskatchewan, after a spotty regular season, went on to win the West and go to the Grey Cup. He said, no, in fact, we're playing a lot better at this point in the season than we were last year.
Yeah, but I think in reality, he has some concerns on the defensive side of the football. I think offensively, I would agree that this is a team that is playing better now than they did last year from the offensive side and on special teams. And when you look at that defensive side, that's where they've struggled a little bit this year.
And McCallum will kick off what must be the last dry football in Calgary. And that, of course, will be a factor come the second half. McCallum slips on the kickoff as the ball heads for the sidelines. Taken there by Coleman at the 25. Here comes Marvin Coleman. Runs into his own man hard and actually knocks Steve Anderson, a much larger man, down. But Calgary with good field position out to the 42-yard line. Well, all of this for Saskatchewan set up by the fumble on the Calgary punt return from Terry Vaughn.
Chris Zarka pulls that ball out of there. Special teams, good special teams work, and Vince Danielson in the second effort goes and picks up that fumble, and that sets up the scoring drive for Saskatchewan.
Garcia the shotgun on first down. Lots of time going to the sidelines over the head of Kelvin Anderson with Todd McMillan there on the coverage.
I'm sorry, Gar, I'm a little surprised that Jeff Garcia and the offense, the Calgary Stampeders, haven't gone back to more of a running style, Kelvin Anderson involved offensive scheme. And when you have 6 defensive backs that the Saskatchewan Roughriders are playing right now with Tommy Henry in the game, you would think that George Cortez, the offensive coordinator, may want to go and try and attack that and run the football a little bit more. They're running a lot of spread offense right now and throwing it.
2.5 minutes to go in the opening half. And Calgary has had much better field position. Pump fake by Garcia. Wide open, Terry Vaughn. In behind Shannon Garrett. The out and up, the wheel. Call it what you want. It was perfectly executed by Calgary.
Well, I guess if you could throw and catch like that, you might as well stick with it. A real nice pump fake by Garcia sets it up to the outside. Todd McMillan bit on the out route. He can't turn around and get back there in time. Shannon Garrett, who was deep in the middle, has no chance to get that far to the sideline. Really wasn't his man in the coverage. McMillan looked like he bit on that out.
A 39-yard gain sends the Stampeders down to the Saskatchewan 27-yard line. Garcia on the run. Garcia down to the 15-yard line. Aaron Collins makes the stop, but not before the Calgary quarterback, who's on the limp, has a gain of 12.
Jeff Garcia will do this 3 or 4 times a game. This is not a design called quarterback draw. He's looking downfield, but he sees the open to the right side, and guess who lines up on the right side? Big 68, the big chill Fred Childress, and he'll open up a couple of holes for you on that side.
2:10 to go in the first half. Calgary trying to answer right back as these two teams start to slug it out, and now Garcia didn't like something he saw, and he'll call timeout.
He saw Benson Donaldson, the safety, low. What I mean by that is he was down at about 6 yards, and when the Riders do that, they will send Donaldson or drop him in the curl or in the short zone. When Jeff Garcia saw Donaldson down that low, he didn't have the right play called and wisely took. Here's Benson Donaldson right here. Now he's going to sneak up. Usually he'd be lined up this deep. When he starts to sneak up like that, Garcia sees it, doesn't have the right call, and wisely takes the timeout.
Talked to Benson Donaldson before the game. I said, how you doing at safety? He says, it's great. I get to split wigs. I said, what? You know, hit guys in the head, he said.
Yeah, he says, I could play for another 10 years back there doing this. You just get to roam around and hit people. And he's one of the best at hitting you, I'll tell you that.
Saskatchewan shows blitz on first down. Garcia drops it off. Vince Danielson with the catch, and he gets down to the 2-yard line.
Now, how big was the timeout by Jeff Garcia? The heads-up play to not try and force a call when he didn't get the right coverage. This time, he calls the timeout. He gets the right play called, and he executes it perfectly, dumping that one off to Danielson. This is the veteran, Jeff Garcia, having a tremendous year and still a front runner as the most valuable player in this league.
A 13-yard gain there for Wally Buono's team, which is having a hard time shaking Saskatchewan. Now first and goal from the Green Rider 2-yard line. Garcia gives it off to Dwayne Ford, and he is stopped. And there's a flag down on the play.
Well, you know, it's not a bad call to hand it to Dwayne Ford because of the odds. Dwayne Ford coming into this game has 3 rushes for 5 yards, but 2 of them went for touchdowns.
This is a guy who went 5 years without scoring a touchdown.
Offside. Saskatchewan 41. First down.
Linebacker Gary Rogers is called offside. It'll be first and goal Calgary from the 1. You can see that big cast on the left arm of Gary Rogers.
Yeah, he has a plate there where he broke his arm. There's about an 8-inch scar where they had to operate and put the plate in, and he cast it up for football games, and I think he lined up offside on the play.
Garcia takes it up and over for the touchdown. Jeff Garcia runs for his 4th touchdown of the year. And Calgary answers Saskatchewan's touchdown with one right back.
Well, when you're 1 yard out, take it yourself, go over the top. Don't turn around and give it to your running back who's deep in the backfield. Great call. Garcia executes it. Pretty good vertical jump getting over, and I like the end of the play. Garcia right in the mix, knows he has the touchdown, and you know what he wants to do? Get the heck out of there. At all costs before someone twists an ankle or something. You can lose body parts in those piles.
Mark McLaughlin puts the point after up and good, and Calgary now has restored its 10-point lead. And these teams are performing a lot better offensively than you might expect in these bad conditions in a bigger crowd, in front of a bigger crowd than you might expect on a night like this.
Well, the crowd has been just a great story here in Calgary. They're up by over 3,000 per game. And you mentioned it earlier, when we saw that hail an hour before the game time, we thought there may be 25,000 sold tickets and maybe 10 show up because it was pretty ugly. But they're all here, and it's a huge crowd again for the Calgary Stampeders. And boy, you have to applaud what they've done with this organization in the 90s.
And of course, this is annually one of their better draws, as Calgary draws a lot of fans from the province next door, and the fans cheering for the guys with the horses on their heads, like that 6-play 67-yard drive, especially the part where Terry Vaughn went out and up for 39 yards.
Yeah, you cannot make a mistake like that defensively against the Calgary Stampeders. When Terry Vaughn ran the out and up for 39 yards, that of course put him in scoring position, and secondary and Jim Daly for the Saskatchewan Roughriders will have to go over that at halftime, and you just cannot afford to make mistakes against the real good football teams and expect to win.
Now, can Saskatchewan once again answer a Calgary touchdown in a game that's opening up late in the first half? Mark McLaughlin setting it deep. Curtis Mayfield from the 12-yard line. Mayfield looking for a crease out across the 35 to about the 38. Roger Wrightson tripped him up, but not before Mayfield had a return of 28. And we are 1 minute and 32 seconds of playing time away from Friday night at the half with James Duthie, Eric Tillman, Chris Schultz, and Marty York at large, who's got, I understand, some scoops tonight.
All right.
Want to hear that?
He often does, doesn't he?
The doctor of dirt.
I can see the next article right now.
Yeah.
I have a feeling your name may be involved at some point.
Reggie Slack with a minute and a half to go in the first half. At time, drops it off for Daniels, and Sean Daniels lumbers up to the 50-yard line. Jason Clement water skiing behind him, but not before Daniels has a gain of 12.
Sean Daniels just turnaround was probably as surprised as anyone in the park that he got the football, but Reggie Slack has really had to do a lot of this on his own. Anything that he's been able to complete down the field, he's really had to fight off the defensive line's pass rush because they have been all over him in the backfield, and he somehow has got that ball out of there.
Clock running at a minute 10. Slack, pump fake. He wants to go deep, and he will for Larry Thompson. Open, incomplete, and Thompson wants a pass interference call on Marvin Coleman. That's the first ball that has been thrown in Marvin Coleman's direction all night.
And that's when you try and throw the out and up or the curl and go, is when you haven't thrown over there at all and you're hoping that you can catch Marvin Coleman napping on that side of the field, but not this pro. And it's a good no call by the official because Coleman turns back to the ball and tries to make a play on the football right there, so he's not interfering.
And Reggie Slack thought there might be a flag on the play, but he isn't given an orange one before the game, so he doesn't get to throw it. 1 minute to go. Here comes the blitz on second down. Slack steps up. Thompson has it go through his hands. And he was once again well covered by Marvin Coleman. 2 years ago, Marvin Coleman had 7 interceptions. Last year just 1, this year just 1. And there's a very simple reason. They don't go his way.
Yeah, no, he's one of the best in the league, and he's a crafty corner. He knows how to pattern read, and what I mean by that is he can look at the slot back and the wide receiver from his position, and what one does, he knows what the other will do. If there's an out, there's usually an in. If there's a curl, there's usually a go. They work together, and the veterans can read it quickly.
Paul McCallum to punt. And this is Coleman from his 20. And Coleman, slipping and sliding, gets out to the 28-yard line. The veteran Dan Rashovich got down to make the stop, a 40-yard punt. A return of 6, and Marvin Coleman will get a well-deserved rest after 2 good defensive plays and a punt return.
And he'll need the rest. I can tell you from experience, you have to go deep with a receiver on one play, come back and cover him on the in on the next play, which is one of the toughest. You are breathing a little hard by the time you get to the bench.
And Alan Pitts, one of the Canadian Football League's all-time leaders in so many categories, just 2 behind Brian Kelly on the all-time touchdown reception list. Garcia from the shotgun once more, wants Pitts, but it's over his head, and he was wide open.
He was open, but he had Vincent Danielson locked in. The radar was on 18 and coming down the seam.
Vincent Donaldson wanted to split the wig, as he said earlier.
Well, that's the jam. Tyrell Arm will just let him go. They're playing zone, so he lets him go into the deep zone. But you see 24 flash from the left. And had Pitts caught that one, he might have felt Donaldson hit him there.
2 behind Brian Kelly on the all-time touchdown reception list. Only one man has scored more touchdowns than those 2. It's George Reed. Give goes off to Kelvin Anderson, and Anderson slides his way across the 35 for a pickup of 9. Of course, George Reed did most of his damage along the ground, and he did some serious damage, 137 touchdowns in his career. It's just a remarkable statistic.
No question about it. I mean, and what Alan Pitts has done in his career is also equally as remarkable. I mean, you think about 54 100-yard games year in and year out, and this race for yardage between Pitts and Donald Narcisse will be interesting to watch over the next couple of years, because both are approaching Ray Elgart.
Interesting to note the similarities between Pitts and George Reed, in that there have been times in their career when they've been described as simply unstoppable.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the type of receiver Alan Pitts has been, and Don Narcisse has been in his career.
3rd and inches for Calgary. Flags down as Garcia takes it straight ahead. Now, this is when the Calgary bench looks on with trepidation, wondering if they've gone offside again.
Offside. Saskatchewan 99.
Saskatchewan this time, Ernie Brown, so it's a first down Saskatchewan. 32 seconds, or first down Calgary rather, 32 seconds to go on the penalty against the Green Riders.
Ernie Brown was just trying to anticipate the snap count.
Ten-point lead for the Calgary Stampeders. Garcia drops it off for Kelvin Anderson. Anderson breaks a couple of tackles and gets up to the 50-yard line. It'll be probably Terry Vaughn will be just short of a Calgary first down.
A little hitch pass to the outside to Terry Vaughn. It's a pretty good call, because Terry Vaughn can break those. He's done it in his career before, and it's a safe pass because it's the short side of the field. You don't have to throw the ball a long way, and Vaughn has the capabilities of breaking it.
Clock running at 25 seconds to go in the first half. Garcia drops it over the middle for Pitts. He's got the first down and then some. Pitts looking for blocks, and he won't get any. Up to the 55-yard line he goes. Pitts wanted a bunch more. 13 seconds to go in the half. Calgary has already used its timeout, so the Stamps will have to hurry here.
They'll have to hurry. They want to get one more play in so they can get in field goal range, and Pitts burned a lot of the time with his run. Tried to get back to all the way across the field, and when he did it, he lost valuable seconds.
Garcia on the move again. To the sidelines he goes. Terry Vaughn breaks a tackle. Now it's a foot race. Vaughn inside the 20. Out of bounds he goes, but it's the end of the first half. Saskatchewan catches a major break as the clock just struck 0. Stampeders with a 10-point lead through the first 30 minutes on Adidas Friday Night Football.
The Calgary Stampeders.
Welcome to Live at the Half, brought to you by Health Watch, only at Shoppers Drug Mart. Here's your host, James Duffy.
Hey everybody, welcome back. And I guess the receivers must have changed their gloves or something because they figured out how to catch that wet ball. After the first quarter, we had all sorts of drop passes, just 11 total points. Second quarter, we get 3 touchdowns, some good catches, and some good drives. Your impressions, Mr. Schultz?
Well, I tell you, going into the game, I really anticipated a blowout for the Calgary Stampeders, and I cite 2 previous games where Saskatchewan and Calgary. Calgary scored by the 3rd play of the game, and then one game also later on down the road in Edmonton, 28-0 for the Edmonton Eskimos. So really a 21 to 11, 10-point, that isn't very much. Sometimes a team survives the first half, and that's basically what the Roughriders did. Calgary performed in the first half, but in the second half, that can change. The Roughriders can come out and perform. Calgary can survive, take advantage of those situations, but I'm looking forward to a good second half, Eric.
Well, it should be a good second half, but I thought that Calgary really made a nice drive there late in the second half. Not the last drive, but the one where they scored 7. You know, this is a football team when it needs a big play, a big drive, seems to do it over and over again. You look at the Toronto game here late. They go down and score and win the game. The Toronto game there, they drive down even though Mark McLaughlin misses the kick. The Edmonton game last week. You know, Calgary's coming off 2 very physically demanding games against Edmonton, yet they're ready to play tonight. That's a real credit to Wally and his staff, James.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. And if you agree or disagree with Mr. Schultz's and Mr. Tillman's comments, well, go online and speak your mind. There's chat groups on the CFL website, and I guarantee you I'll make them read every word of what you write. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's football season on all levels. Here's our CIAU top 10. UBC on top. They're 2-0 and averaging 40 points a game. Bishop's the only other 2-0 team right now. There are 5 teams at 1-0. And our match to catch, Saskatchewan at Calgary. Yes, the CIAU version of tonight's game. The Huskies are 1-0. The Dinos are 1-1. Well, we knew it would happen sooner or later. Tonight, the Globe and Mail's Marty York has the scoop on one of the members of our panel. And here's a hint, it's not me or Schultze.
At Large with Marty York.
Winnipeg directors have all but officially decided to hire a new face to head their football operations next season. Jeff Reinbold has been both operations director and head coach during the past 2 seasons. But although they actually won a game last week, the Bombers have struggled miserably under him. Sources tell me that Reinbold has urged the Winnipeg directors to go out and hire a new operations director, and he has suggested none other than Eric Tillman. Indeed, Tillman is the front runner. He probably knows it, too, because he had lunch with a few of the Winnipeg directors in Toronto earlier today. Now, don't let Eric try to deny anything, James. He knows this stuff is dead on. It makes sense, too. Tillman has won Grey Cups as GM in both BC and Toronto, and the thinking is he could help revive the Bombers once the organization is restructured. This is turning out to be a tough first season as Edmonton head coach for Kay Stevenson. The Eskimos are only 1 game above 500 and have the 3rd worst offense in the CFL. Edmonton's loyal fans have been upset with Stevenson, not only because of the team's failures, but also because he was quoted in print recently as saying he doesn't care what they think. Many of the Edmonton players also have been upset with Stevenson because of his strict style of discipline. Making matters worse for him, future Hall of Famer Henry Williams walked out of practice the other day after finding out that he's been scratched from tomorrow's lineup. The Giz feels he deserves better treatment, all of which must be making Stevenson wonder why he agreed to coach the Esks instead of accepting an offer from Bill Cowher before this season to become offensive coordinator for the NFL's Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, there are a couple of guys in the hot seat in Regina, too. If the Roughriders don't make the playoffs, head coach Jim Daly and GM Al Ford almost certainly will be gone. For Adidas Friday Night Football, I'm Marty York. We'll see you next week.
Interesting stuff, and let's get right back to the first point. Let's cut to the chase, Mr. Tillman. Have you been offered the job in Winnipeg?
James, at this point, I can tell you flat out there has absolutely been no offer at all from Winnipeg, no.
Okay, so no formal offer yet, but if there is one that comes, are you interested in that job?
And leave this job with you guys? We got the best jobs in North America. I mean, we get paid to watch TV. We sit around and eat pizza in the break, and we're smarter than everybody else coaching the game. So
well, if you do get a job, just remember me, okay? You know, I wouldn't mind getting involved a little bit more directly either, but good luck in any decisions that you make.
As what, a ball boy?
Well, no, quarterback coach. I got to progress.
Quarterback
yes.
coach. Yes, Eric Tillman doing his best of Bill Clinton impersonation, dancing around the question. At this time, Eric does not have an inappropriate relationship with the Winnipeg Blue Bomber. Let's get our first half impressions from Wally Buono. Sherry Hargrave spoke to him just a couple of minutes ago.
Football this season. Head coach Wally Buono, a little soggy out there tonight, but your team seems to be handling the conditions okay.
Well, I think both teams are handling the conditioning pretty well, and it's kind of game we expect, a pretty tough game.
Tell me about your decision to stick with Garcia after that big hit.
Well, I think he just had a sore thigh, and the trainers thought everything was well, and we were watching him closely, so everything was okay.
Great. Good luck in the second half, Coach.
Wally a little more pleased than last week when he went on a little tirade at halftime, and he has reason to be pleased. The Stamps, yes, big passing numbers and big overall net yards, and that's why they're ahead in the football game. And yes, fall is football time, so get out and see a game. As we head to break, here are the numbers in your neck of the woods. We'll be back.
If you're single, the Chrysler Intrepid is a sleek and sexy car. If, on the other hand, you're married, it's a practical family car. Either way, it'll go 160,000 kilometers before its first tune-up. Which, if you're single, means it'll still be around when you finally meet someone special and suddenly need a practical family car. Or, if you're married, it'll still be around when your midlife crisis hits and you suddenly need a sleek and sexy car.
Yeah, baby. I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that. I got soul. I got soul. I like it like that. You're a DJ ghetto. I like it like that. Yeah, baby. I like it like that. 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 I like it like that.
If you ask us, Canada, it just tastes better.
Now there's a tire that can survive even this, the Goodyear Eagle F1 Run Flat. Even with no air pressure, Goodyear Run Flat technology lets you drive up to 80 kilometers at 85 kilometers per hour to safety, so you won't get stuck with a flat.
Now that proves a point, huh?
Eagle F1 Run Flat.
Don't try this at home, folks. Sorry.
Goodyear, Goodyear.
Up Close is brought to you by Adidas, the official sponsor of the CFL.
Again, the 6-receiver set for Reggie Slack. And Slack bursts all the way to the end zone.
The only thing that I've ever wanted when playing this game is an opportunity to play, an opportunity to go out on the field and to compete. And I've been given that opportunity this year. I came into training camp knowing that I wasn't going to have to go out every day and compete for my job. And I was able to, knowing that, I was able to focus on what I needed to do to be better as a player. And I think also with the addition of Coach Murphy as the offensive coordinator, our offense has been presented in a way that everyone can understand. Everyone understands the philosophy, what we're trying to do, how we're trying to attack defenses. And it's made my job a lot easier this year.
Up Close is brought to you by Adidas, the official sponsor of the CFL.
And Reggie's got some work to do tonight. His team trailing by 10. 3 more games ahead this weekend, and they're all on TV. We've got the Argos and those streaking Bombers tomorrow. Then you can catch Edmonton and BC on the CBC tomorrow night. And then we've got the big one Sunday. Al's Ticats still fighting for top spot in the East. Well, the thoughts and prayers of everyone around the CFL are with Norm Casola tonight. The Toronto Argonauts slotback is battling cancer and is gravely ill. Now, both of my colleagues know Norm well. Chris, you played with him with the Argos.
I played with Norm Casola in 1994. It was my last year in pro football, basically his first year in pro football. He came out of University of Windsor. and nobody expected him to make the team. But boy, he got respect, and he got it quick. He truly earned his spot with the Toronto Argonauts. The best way I can describe Norm Casola is he's a unique blend of toughness and intelligence, which leads you to a major question as to why. And sometimes you ask a question why, you get an instantaneous answer. I think in this situation there really isn't an answer. I think I would like to express to his family, his friends, that everybody watching, every football player, every CFL fan, and every person at this moment has our thoughts, our love, and our prayers in regard to a truly delicate situation. I think the biggest thing about Norm Casola is not the fact that he was a successful football player at all. That's totally immaterial. I think the fact is he's a wonderful human being.
You know, Chris, football teams are families, and you know that as well as anyone. You know, wins come and go, but it's the relationships, the friendships, those are the things that you treasure. And Norm Casola will always be a part of the Argo family. I want tonight to commend Don Matthews on national TV for respecting Norm's request to keep this matter confidential for so long. It says a lot about Don. You know, it's very difficult in a time like this to know what to say. You know, I think back to something my dad told me a long time ago. I love you never goes out of style. And Norm, there are a lot of guys in that locker room that love you. And there are a lot of guys that are getting down on their knees and they're remembering you in their prayers. God be with you, Normie. God be with you.
Well put, and all of us at TSN wish Norm and his family the best. And the Argos will be wearing his number 80 tomorrow against the Bombers and for the rest of the season. We'll be back.
Now the most trusted name in winter boots goes to work. Made to take whatever the work could dish out. Sorel protects you better, lasts longer, and feels more comfortable. Get Sorel working for you, whether you're kicking in or just kicking back. Sorel, rugged, Canadian, original.
Welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bowes. Little baseball update for you. The Blue Jays going down to Tampa Bay, where they have been winless this season and desperately needing a win in order to stay in that race for the wild card spot in the American League. And Jose Canseco gets things going in the first for Toronto. It's number 43 on the season. The Jays lead it 1-0. Tampa then ties it, and then Rich Butler with the ground ball to first. Carlos Delgado's throw is weak, and Kelvin Escobar can't catch it. 2 runs are in, 3-1 Devil Rays, and then Tampa assaults it right here when Paul Sorrento launches a 2-run shot to left. 5-1 Tampa Bay. They would add on one more for a 6-1 final. Jays 0-4 at Tropicana Field this season. Now, how did the Red Sox do? Well, they also lost to the White Sox 11-9. So it remains a 5-game spread in that race for the wildcard spot in the American League. More football is coming up right after this.
If you're single, the Chrysler Intrepid is a sleek and sexy car. If, on the other hand, you're married, it's a practical family car. Either way, it'll go 160,000 kilometers before its first tune-up. Which, if you're single, means it'll still be around when you finally meet someone special and suddenly need a practical family car. Or, if you're married, it'll still be around when your midlife crisis hits and you suddenly need a sleek and sexy car.
Calgary leading by 10 as the second half is getting ready to kick off, and we'd like to echo the thoughts of the panelists a moment ago and sending our best wishes to Norm Casola and his family. Saskatchewan still in this football game, down by 10, trying to beat the Calgary Stampeders at McMahon for the first time since 1989. Curtis Mayfield on the kickoff return just drags the pile across the 41-yard line. Jim Daly a moment ago spoke with our Sherry Hargrave about the first half.
Coach Jim Daly, this wet weather wreaking some havoc with your team?
Well, no, I don't think it's wreaking any more havoc with us than Calgary. It is a little slick, but that's not, not just something we have to play through and adapt to. We just have to move the ball better on offense and do a little better job tackling than we did in a couple of series in that first half.
Thank you very much.
Saskatchewan had 81 net yards in the first half. Terry Vaughn had 97 for Calgary on his own. On first down, Slack throwing that wide field out, and look out. Eddie Davis almost took that to the house.
And there's no question he'd been working on the touchdown dance. And he's had a couple of interceptions that he's been pulled down on like the 1-yard line, one by Tracy Ham in Montreal. But had he picked this one off and hung on, he was all the way in the end zone.
That was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. You could just see him bearing down on the ball, and another half second he was gone.
He read the mail.
Slack now on second down. Trying to find someone open. He's under pressure. Now Slack unloads, and what a grab by Don Narcisse. Up to the 50-yard line. He'll be a yard short at least of a Saskatchewan first down. Reggie Slack did a great job to get that away.
You can't emphasize enough how big of a catch this is for Don Narcisse. He had to come back to it, so he'll probably be a bit short of the first down, but with a wet ball and wet gloves, he had to go up high and pull that one out of the air. If you get the ball anywhere around number 80, he's going to come down with it.
You heard Reggie Slack mention during the halftime that the addition of Cal Murphy has made a big difference to him. It's hard to know if there's anyone in the league who has a more complete understanding of the game than Cal Murphy. And now Marvin Coleman stands back for the punt from Paul McCallum. Saskatchewan had the ball more than Calgary in the first half, but spent most of the game on its own side of midfield. This is a great kick from McCallum, sends Coleman back to the 10. Coleman trying for the corner. Being chased down, and he is brought down after a 7-yard return. A great special teams effort there from Curtis Gaelic. And it's Calgary's turn to start deep in its own territory.
Your favorite CFL team now has their logo on your favorite credit card. It's the CFL MasterCard credit card. Support your team and take advantage of the benefits that over 346 million MasterCard cardholders worldwide are enjoying. Each stylized card has your team's logo on it. So support your team 12 months a year and pull out your card. Call 1-8774-CFL now for your CFL MasterCard credit card. When you pay with us, you play with us.
Now there's a tire that can survive even this, the Goodyear Eagle F1 Run Flat. Even with no air pressure, Goodyear Run Flat technology lets you drive up to 80 kilometers at 85 kilometers per hour to safety, so you won't get stuck with a flat.
Now that proves a point, huh?
Eagle F1 Run Flat.
Don't try this at home, folks. Sorry.
Goodyear, Goodyear.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won the Minolta Dimage digital still camera with built-in flash, 1.8-inch color LCD monitor, and 64-image storage. A great way to break into the world of digital photography. Dimage from Minolta. It's great fun. Or a set of Revere Pro Line cookware from Corning. Designed for durability and a lifetime of use. Retains moisture, flavor, and nutrients while cooking. Corningware, a balance of practicality and performance. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
Calgary up by 10 with its first possession of the second half. Jeff Garcia, the air attack, brought to you by Sorel, rugged Canadian original footwear.
Well, he's a little right-handed, 6 for 10 to the right side, but one of the two on the left side was the 39-yarder to Terry Vaughn.
By the way, mention that Calgary scored on its opening possession in this football game. Stamps have done it 4 times this year, 3 times against Saskatchewan. In all 3 meetings with the Green Riders, Calgary has scored the first time it's had the ball. Now on the first possession of the second half, Garcia over the middle, great catch by Vince Danielson. And Danielson is brought down at the 32-yard line for a pickup of 14 yards.
Garcia has really been on fire against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. When you look at his numbers in the 2 games that Garcia played against Saskatchewan, he was completing 73% of his passes for over 700 yards, 5 touchdowns and not 1 interception. So he definitely has this Rider defense figured out.
Now the give on first down to Kelvin Anderson, and Anderson gets out to the 38-yard line, and that's good for a gain of about 5 yards. And we mentioned earlier that Saskatchewan has the 8th ranked run defense in the league, and yet Kelvin Anderson hasn't done a lot along the ground. Just 5 carries for 19 yards in the football game.
Yeah, and I think we'll see him get the football a lot more in this second half, especially with the lead now. Calgary want to control the ball a little more, and that's where Kelvin Anderson comes in.
On second down, Garcia calls his own number, and Garcia close to a first down as he crosses the 40 up to the 42-yard line. George Cortez, the offensive coordinator for Calgary, was telling me yesterday that on the key touchdown that Calgary scored late in the game against Edmonton, he actually signaled in the wrong play.
Rather be lucky than good, or good to be lucky, or whatever that saying is. But you know, one thing that George Cortez does well is second half adjustments. When they go in at halftime, this is a coaching staff, one of the best in the league, at looking at what the defense has given them in the first half, making the adjustments, and coming out in the second half, really applying the pressure. And that's what they did last week against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yeah, 2 things they did. One, keep Kelvin Anderson in the block. The other was to move Alan Pitts to the wide side of the field. By keeping Anderson in the block, Edmonton had to bring more people, and that made Alan Pitts a lot harder to cover, and Pitts went crazy in the second half of the game.
Yeah, when you bring Kelvin Anderson in to block the secondary blitzing, now Pitts gets the one-on-one, and you put him to the wide field, he's got more space to operate in.
Calgary just short of the first down, will gamble on third down. And Garcia dives straight ahead and should have it for Calgary, which he does. Garcia's will be opening in Calgary, I understand, within the next couple of months. An authentic Mexican restaurant. Not that stuff you see, you know, that's not really truly Mexican.
Okay.
Like no talking dogs at Garcia's place.
We'll have to check it out next time we're in town.
Yeah. Maybe bring a fire extinguisher, though. I understand it's very authentic.
Spicy.
Garcia trying to set up the screen. Now he's in trouble. Trying to get away, sends it upfield, incomplete for Aubrey Cummings. And Calgary's fortunate to get a 2nd and 10 out of it.
I'm just amazed that we saw Reggie Slack ward off defenders with his arm, and Jeff Garcia took a little page out of his playbook and showed pretty good strength. Jeff Garcia just fought off Aaron Collins as a linebacker, and then Ernie Brown was right in his face, and he jumps over him to deliver the pass. But it's not easy with one arm to fight off a linebacker who weighs 240 pounds.
By the way, it's not just the spices that might get you. Garcia's from Gilroy, California, the garlic capital of America. 2nd and 10. Garcia out to the sidelines he goes. The pass is complete to Willis Marshall, and Marshall, with his first catch of the game, crosses midfield, gets down to the 52-yard line. Marshall, as we mentioned earlier, taking the place of Travis Moore in the Calgary offensive lineup. Moore will be back next week.
Yeah, Travis Moore should be back next week. Had the bad ankle. Willis Marshall's been on the practice roster throughout the season, knows the offense well. That's why Wally Buono's not worried about inserting him into the lineup, but they obviously want Travis Moore back, who is on pace for his best season ever before he was injured.
Gain of 14, first down Calgary. Whoops. All kinds of early movement. Flags are down. Garcia will take off, and he'll get down to the 45-yard line, but 2 Calgary receivers were at least 5 yards upfield when that ball was snapped. This will be yet another procedure penalty against the Stamps, and Wally Buono will grind his teeth down just a little more.
I think Garcia pointed to himself.
2. First down repeated.
Terry Vaughn is the man they called. He was the closest one to the official.
Well, sometimes if the quarterback's pointing himself, it may mean that he changed the snap count but forgot to tell the receivers.
So meantime, his guys are trying to get the flaps down to stay on side of it. They're dropping the anchor and the parachute, anything they can. But
they're gonzo.
Bring up a 1st and 15 as Calgary has moved back to its own side of midfield. Garcia gives it off to Kelvin Anderson. He'll get back close to the original line of scrimmage on a gain of about 4. Aaron Collins comes up to make the stop. Aaron Collins in at middle linebacker for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a first-year man out of Penn State. Brother Jerry played for the Ottawa Roughriders. In fact, he is one of 19 children.
Wow.
He has 12 sisters, 7 brothers. He's the youngest of 7 brothers.
I played against Jerry Collins, the running back, when he was in Ottawa, and you know they're going to be hungry football players when that many brothers and sisters to battle over dinner.
Garcia drops it into the hole, and a good catch made there by Willis Marshall down to the 41-yard line. Another first down, a gain of 13, and a very precise throw by Jeff Garcia.
Well, Saskatchewan Roughriders haven't provided too much pressure throughout this game, but Ernie Brown gets there on the stunt to the outside. Garcia still manages to get it off. Ernie Brown providing a little bit of pressure, but you know, George Cortez is likely going to see more blitzing from the Saskatchewan defense. They're going to have to start to gamble a little bit behind in this football game.
8.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Calgary with a 10-point lead. Here comes the blitz from Saskatchewan again. Garcia with time over the top and almost complete to Aubrey Cummings, who was hand fighting all the way down the field with Shannon Garrett.
Well, Saskatchewan went with the blitz. They sent middle linebacker Aaron Collins, but Aaron Collins went through the wrong gap because it was the Big Chills gap.
And that's not a gap.
That's not a gap. There's no gap here. Fred Childress just closed that gap in a hurry and said, if you're going to blitz, you better find another place to go.
There's no there. 11th play of the drive that began inside the Calgary 20. Here comes the blitz again from the safety. Picked up again. Garcia over the middle. Pitch dropped it. Calgary did everything right except the last part.
Well, you don't see that very often. Alan Pitts cannot believe it because that was right on the spot. Safety blitz number 24, Vincent Donaldson, right up the middle. Kelvin Anderson picks it up nicely. Good throw by Jeff Garcia. And Pitts forgot to do one thing, catch the football. And no one has to say anything to Alan Pitts. He's his toughest critic.
Wally Bono will not try a 49-yard field goal. Instead, he sends punter Tony Martino out, true to form. Martino trying to just pooch it down there, and he does. Ulmer at the 8. Flag is down, and Ulmer is brought down at the 18-yard line. Another flag comes down. We'll sort out the laundry for you when we return to Calgary on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Hey, just finished staining the gazebo.
Great. What'd you use, redwood or cedar?
Well,
at Home Hardware, there's no need to limit yourself.
so this stain comes in lots of colors.
How many?
Wood Shield exterior stain from Home Hardware comes in more than 1,000 colors, all backed by our no quibble guarantee.
1,000? How did you decide?
Well,
Home Hardware.
Cool. What about the fence?
Help us close to home.
There are times when it becomes a battle of will. When gaining ground means losing blood. When exhilaration meets exhaustion. When the vision of your goal is blurred only by the tears in your eyes. And either you have it in you or you don't. Gatorade. Is it in you?
Welcome back to McMahon Stadium. Calgary leading Saskatchewan by a count of 21-11. Here's Sherry Hargrave on the sideline.
With me right now, number 32, all-star running back for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Mike Saunders, obviously on the sidelines tonight. What exactly is your injury?
I took a helmet right to the knee last week against Winnipeg. Brad Elberg ducked his head in the safety, and I ran right into him. As far as knee injuries go, it's pretty minor. It's just a matter of swelling, and I expect to be back on the field next week.
Super. Good luck with that.
One of the good guys in the Canadian Football League, Mike Saunders, and missed beyond belief.
No question about it. I mean, here's a guy comes into this, would have come into this game at 450 yards in the season. I thought he was running as hard as I'd ever seen him run this year.
There were 3 penalties on that return. As a result, Saskatchewan starts at its own 28-yard line. There was a no yards penalty against Calgary, then holding against Saskatchewan, then a face mask against Calgary. Got all that?
I got you.
And there was a gain of 3 there. Maybe.
One of the most versatile running backs in the game, Mike Saunders. Equally as potent catching the football out of the backfield as he is running it, and Saskatchewan Roughriders need him back in a hurry.
Darren Joseph taking his place, got 2 on that last carry. Slack under pressure, got away again. Now Slack looking downfield, tried to hit Curtis Mayfield, but the pass falls incomplete at the sidelines. But once again, Slack, like a magician, able to get away.
Well, there's
Mayfield,
2 parts.
by the way, sorry, Glenn, does not have a catch in the football game.
Yeah, there's 2 parts to this play. First of all, Reggie Slack, you cannot arm tackle Reggie Slack. He's standing in the pocket, and Steve Anderson gets the right arm over his shoulders. Not good enough. You got to put the shoulder pads in there to tackle him. He's too strong. Gets to the outside and throws that ball, but Eddie Davis was step for step with Mayfield.
McCallum fortunate to get that kick away. It is fielded by Terry Vaughn at the 36-yard line. Vaughn still going. Is wrapped up upfield by Ken Benson, a 44-yard punt, a return of 5. Calgary with the lead and the ball when we come back.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win. If your name appears, you won a fabulous trip for 2 to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. You'll stay at the Villas Vallarta Hotel and fly Air Transat, all courtesy of World of Vacations, Canada's #1 tour operator to the sun. $1 million touchdown to win at Safeway Food and Drug.
CFL football is one tough game. Touch football is one fun game. Football Canada and Football Ontario invite you to have some fun. Join one of the many adult touch football leagues across Canada. The Canadian Football League, along with Molson Canadians, support their efforts. Call Football Canada or Football Ontario and get in the game.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win for your chance to win $1 million. Participating products include Nabob Coffee, Kraft Spaghetti Dinners, Campbell Soups. Now there's 1 million more reasons to shop at Safeway, today's better way.
Friday night football tonight.
Hey, tomorrow, a special treat for you. Evander Holyfield versus Vaughn Bean. 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. The first live heavyweight championship fight on television, not pay-per-view, in about a decade.
Who do you like?
Holyfield.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
I thought it was Butterbean at first, but I guess he's not fighting anymore. Remember that guy?
It's not Mr. Bean.
No. He's got a glass jaw.
Yeah, okay.
Good crowd here tonight. More than 30,000 paid this evening, and I would venture to say that about 2/3 of those people showed up tonight on a miserable night in Calgary. But you know what? When you make the 6 or 7 hour drive from Saskatchewan, which so many fans do for this game, you might as well go to the park, huh?
Oh, yeah. By that time, you got a little antifreeze in you anyway.
Oh, eating coffee, of course.
Of course.
First down, Calgary. Garcia dropping it off for Kelvin Anderson. Gets by Aaron Collins, loses the football. Now, did he get it back? Yes, he did. And he got the first down to boot. Kelvin Anderson very fortunate to get the ball back after a gain of 16.
Well, the ball was flopping around when he took off running with it. He was real loose with the ball in his right arm. He's running with it.
Whoops.
The tackles are coming from that side. The ball's a little bit wet. It hit his own man, Vince Danielson, in the back. But he did get it back.
Calgary with the first down at the Saskatchewan 53-yard line. Garcia gives it off to Anderson again, this time stopped after a gain of 3. Ken Benson came up to make the tackle. Ken Benson, of course, the former Toronto Argonaut, picked up by Saskatchewan and has helped solidify this defense somewhat.
Yeah, he has, and he's been on and off the roster because of injuries, but he's one of the guys that the Saskatchewan Roughriders signed as a free agent. Ken Benson, they feel will be the key to their defense in the future.
After the gain of 3, 2nd down and 7. Garcia dropping it out there for Vince Danielson. A first down to the 37-yard line. He was tripped up there by Todd McMillan, but not before Danielson picked up the first down.
Danielson has set up Tommy Henry a couple times with deep corner patterns. So Henry, when he sees that cut, jumps into the inside, and then Danielson breaks it back to the out. And Henry's about 3 yards behind him, and Vince Danielson does a pretty good job against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 9 for 114 in the week 6 when these two teams met. It was his first ever 100-yard game, which is surprising.
Coming off his first 1,000-yard season last year, on pace for another this year. Option, Garcia for Anderson. And well played by Saskatchewan as the corner, Todd McMillan, came up to make the stop for a gain of 2.
Well, it's a big play by Todd McMillan because it's a bit of a gamble to come this quickly in run support. He sees that ball go out there on the pitch and really takes a gamble, comes up quickly and closes. You're going to see the end of it where he makes a nice tackle in the open field, cutting Kelvin Anderson's legs out from underneath him. But when you're in the secondary, you're always told play pass first, be second, and be a little late to come up on the run support. Todd McMillan shot up there in a hurry.
3.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Calgary leading by 10, facing the blitz. Garcia gets it away to Anderson. Anderson, though, can't break the tackle of McMillan again. And Todd McMillan did a great job of denying the first down to Kelvin Anderson.
Well, he really did, because you get open field one-on-one. You expect, look at the blitz, first of all, coming from the linebacking core, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Both linebackers up in there. They're all coming. Now the ball is out to Kelvin Anderson. Look at all the space he has. Todd McMillan beats the block of Terry Vaughn, slices in there, and twice in a row pulls down Kelvin Anderson.
So Mark McLaughlin will finally get a chance to go to work. McLaughlin's first try of the game will come from 39 yards out. Inside the 40 this year, he is 17 of 22. A miserable start to the season, but he's been very hot of late. Just 3 misses in the last 5 weeks. Whoops. Make that 4 misses, and that one never had a chance. Looked like he hit the top third of the ball there.
Yeah, he topped that one. Just take a look and see if it was the hold. Dave Dickinson is the holder. It looks like a very good hold, and looked like Mark McLaughlin just sort of lunged at the ball. It's the hold by Dave Dickinson. Gets it down, spins the lace away, gets his hand out of there. Can't get much better than that.
Hey, there's Ron Rook, the Vice President of Marketing and Public Relations for the Calgary Stampeders, along with Glenn Suter, myself. Yeah. Hey, there you go. A little present from the Stamps.
Oh, that's nice.
All right. I'll explain why in a minute. Now, you see, Ron, I looked away. What happened there? Who got the ball? Darren Joseph. There we go. Well, this is my last game in Calgary because I'm going to take over the hosting duties on Nats hockey pretty quick. So Ron brought me a Stampeder top. Look at that there. And a hat. Yeah, how nice is that?
Very nice.
Boy, tough. You know what? I'm from Edmonton, though. It's tough. I'll just put that down here so nobody back. Ron just wanted to bring that up to remind me that Calgary swept Edmonton in the Labor Day week doubleheader. Thanks, Ron. 2nd and a bundle for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And flags fly once again.
Time count violation, Saskatchewan 17.
So the time count violation against Reggie Slack, who was trying to change the play there. 1:50 to go here in the 3rd quarter.
That's the problem when you get that call in late from the sideline. You don't have as much time to make your audible at the line of scrimmage.
So it brings up now 2nd and 12. And the playbook gets a little thinner here. There's that pump fake again, but Slack can't get it away. He is sacked by Bronzell Miller. And Miller comes up limping, but he's got his 2nd sack of the football game.
Eddie Davis faked the halfback blitz from this side of the field. He faked it and dropped out. Reggie Slack was expecting blitz, wanted to go to the one-on-one down the field. He didn't get one-on-one. He got zoned and had to eat the football.
McCallum to punt. A low driving kick, returnable for Terry Vaughn back at the 32. Check that, Willis Marshall, and he comes ahead to the 38-yard line. Marshall with his first punt return of the game will give Calgary decent field position. But the story for Calgary, somewhat similar to what it's been throughout the year. There are times when this offense has difficulty putting the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, and I think it always comes back to Calvin Anderson. I really truly believe that. When Calgary Stampeders have struggled offensively, Calvin Anderson has not been involved. And all of a sudden, he's more involved in this second half, and I think we'll see him start to click again.
Just over a minute to go now in the third quarter. Garcia, play action. Going back over the top, Vince Danielson. And Vince Danielson has been Tommy Henry's worst nightmare tonight.
And this is the play-action fake to start it off with Calvin Anderson. We just talked about his involvement. If he runs the ball a little bit, you have to respect it. After the fake, held the defensive backs, held Tommy Henry. He couldn't get across in coverage. Vince Danielson opens up. You have to respect Anderson. You can play-action fake to him, and it opens up your receivers.
Gain was 18. First down Calgary at the Saskatchewan 53. Garcia from the shotgun. Has time and has Danielson, who slips trying to make his move. Aaron Collins comes up to make the stop with 22 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Well, Vince Danielson's making a living this year out of the crossing patterns. And you know what? That wears on you after a while, because when you keep going across the middle, he's having a great night again tonight with 5 catches, 63 yards. But when you keep coming across the middle like that, you know you're getting hit 2 or 3 times. And credit the toughness of Vince Danielson, because he has that job. You get to go in the middle and get whacked.
Should be the final play of the third quarter. Garcia. Lots of time, has Pitts, and Pitts has a first down to the 37-yard line on the final play of the third quarter. Alan Pitts with 6 catches in the game, that one for a gain of 11. Calgary with a 10-point lead as we approach the fourth.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter.
Hey everybody, welcome back to TSN Football Control. James Duthie here. A very uneventful third quarter, which I guess is exactly what Calgary would want. When you're ahead, you don't want anything to happen, especially anything bad to happen, Chris.
Well, anything bad to happen, but the one thing that I am surprised about is there really has only been 1 turnover for each football team. And really, if I'm Greg Marshall right now with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I'm going right down the bench and I'm talking to my players and I'm saying, guys, now is the time to create a play. I'm making them mentally opportunistic, because in the fourth quarter, the team that makes the play, makes that interception, makes that fumble, return for a touchdown, is going to win the game. Mike Roach, on the other hand, I'm going to challenge my veteran player, Alondra Johnson. I'm going to challenge my players individually to be the man to step up, to make the play, to individually win the game, because this is still a close game, Eric.
Yeah, Chris, but Calgary just has so many weapons. I mean, you take Alan Pitts, you've got Vince Danielson, you've got Terry Vaughn, Kelvin Anderson, and a couple of pretty good quarterbacks, too, and Garcia and Dickinson. You know, there's nothing fancy about this performance tonight by Calgary, and that's to be expected coming off back-to-back games with Edmonton. It's just efficient. Good football teams find a way to win, and that's exactly what Calgary's done tonight, James.
And you have to figure the fourth quarter favors Calgary as well. It has been their quarter all season long. They've scored 136 points. Remember, last week they came from behind to score 24 to beat Edmonton, and we all know what happened to Saskatchewan. They fell apart against Winnipeg. Here's Gord and Glenn.
All right, thanks, guys. Calgary's nice enough to drop off some stuff before for my last game in Calgary. This is our last game together.
Our last game?
Yeah.
I'm going to miss you. We're going to that hockey thing. What's up with the hockey thing? You're leaving football.
Well, you can't do both. That's the problem. You know?
Well, you'll do well in the hockey thing. And we'll look forward to watching that. But I'll miss you up here. It's been fun.
And we got a good fourth quarter shaping up here as Vincent Donaldson and the Saskatchewan defense try to dig in here. And what does Saskatchewan do here to try to limit all those weapons the guys talked about?
Well, they got to take some chances. We heard the panel talking about it. They've got to take some chances. Maybe Vincent Donaldson comes on a safety blitz, or they send the halfbacks Tyrell Ulmer or maybe Tommy Henry on a blitz, but they have to take some chances. They have to gamble and try and get some pressure on Garcia, because right now it's pitch and catch for the Calgary quarterback. He's got lots of time back there.
Speaking of pitch and catch, Heath Rylance warming up on the Saskatchewan sideline. But meantime, it's the Calgary offense with a first down at the 37. Garcia guns it, and it's over the head of Vince Danielson. Even though the pass is incomplete, that's an amazing throw by Jeff Garcia. The numbers through three quarters, well, 102 net yards for Saskatchewan after the third. So they've outgained Terry Vaughn anyway.
Not by much. That's obviously not great production out of the passing game, but Reggie Slack has had a lot of passes dropped, especially in the first half.
And Saskatchewan just 24 yards rushing in the game. The Green Riders, the number 2 rushing team in the league. Can you say Green Riders anymore? Because there's only one Riders.
Yeah, you can. Goes back to Saunders on that running part, though.
Second down, Garcia wide open as Pitts down to the 24-yard line. McMillan and Garrett closed on him, but not before. Alan Pitts has a gain of 13 and another Calgary first down.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders can't just send 4. They're not getting home. Ernie Brown and the boys up front just aren't getting home. That front 5 offensive linemen for the Calgary Stampeders doing a nice job, and Garcia is just standing in the pocket. Watch the great protection. He's going to drop back. It's good protection. Here comes the pass rush. There isn't any. Good passing lane, good sight lines for Garcia, and pitch and catch.
First down, Garcia drops it off short for Vince Danielson, and Danielson will have a gain of about 5. Talking about George Reed earlier, in a 5-year period in the 1960s, George Reed rushed for more than 8,000 yards. Well, Alan Pitts, in a 5-year stretch from 1991 through 1995, had more than 8,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, when you look at his numbers and project them over the rest of this year, he will pass Ray Elgard, the all-time yardage reception leader, by midway in the season next year. And at that time, Don Narcisse will be about 500 yards behind him.
Second and 5. Garcia wants to run. He will. He's got the first down and more as he dives inside the 10. It will be first and goal, Stampeders. Let's go to Sherry Hargrave.
Gord, I just finished talking to Pat Clayton, the team therapist. He tells me Garcia has a quad contusion. That's hampering the amount he can run, and that's why he's standing in the pocket more than usual.
All right, and that's a leg bruise, right, Clint?
That'd be a leg bruise, and you know, you can play with the leg bruise as long as the game keeps going. You keep it loose, you keep it stretched out.
See, I don't have the problems. I don't have any quads, so I can't get contusions.
Last time I saw legs like that.
Hey, easy. First and goal, just inside the 10. Garcia towards the end zone, and his target, Willis Marshall, was on his back. Garcia wants an interference penalty. The Calgary fans want a penalty. Willis Marshall wants a penalty.
Well, he was all tied up with Todd McMillan, and the refs must have thought that Willis Marshall tripped over McMillan. There's that safety blitz we're talking about. Vincent Donaldson on the rush and forced Garcia to throw it, but you can see how Willis Marshall was on the ground. Todd McMillan, Marshall got all tangled up.
Second and goal, Calgary, on the 9th play of this drive. Garcia all day. Now to the end zone, and incomplete for Vince Danielson. And Danielson, who's been on the limp himself of late, is slow to get up in the end zone. It's incomplete. Third down. The field goal unit has to take the field.
Credit the Riders secondary, because Jeff Garcia had a ton of steamboats on this one. I mean, he looked at every receiver twice before he decided to take off, and then even had time to throw the football. But that secondary for the Riders kept working. Vincent Donaldson from his safety position was up in front and made Garcia throw it over. But look at the jams along the board. Tyrell Ulmer doing a nice job in coverage to the right of your screen, and Garcia had all day.
Mark McLaughlin from 16 yards out puts it up and through, making a 14-point lead for Calgary with 11:44 to play in the fourth.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won Fill-A-Shave with Reflex Action. It adapts comfortably to the contours of your face. Closer contact for a closer shave. Fill-A-Shave from Philips, our closest shave ever. Or the Business Navigator Personal Organizer from Casio with PC synchronization software and large 1 megabyte anti-loss memory. The BN10 packs so much power, it's like having a PC in your pocket. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
Yeah, baby. I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that. I got soul. I got soul. I like it like that. You're a DJ ghetto. I like it like that. Hey, baby. I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that.
If you ask us, Canada, it just tastes better.
Your favorite CFL team now has their logo on your favorite credit card. It's the CFL MasterCard credit card. Support your team and take advantage of the benefits that over 346 million MasterCard cardholders worldwide are enjoying. Each stylized card has your team's logo on it. So support your team 12 months a year and pull out your card. Call 1-877-4CFL now for your CFL MasterCard credit card. When you pay with us, you play with us.
Tonight, Glenn Suter's on the Red Eye. Tomorrow he's in Toronto for the Blue Bombers and Argonauts at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And then he's on the Queen Elizabeth Way for the game between the Hamilton Ticats and the Montreal Alouettes. That is the Hall of Fame game at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. You are a one-man broadcasting
I love it.
machine.
I love it. Give me the whole schedule.
From the 35, Reggie Slack fires it in there, and look out. The intended target, Curtis Mayfield, got knocked down hard by Jack Kellogg. One of the inductees on Hall of Fame weekend, Larry Robinson of the Calgary Stampeders. Our congratulations to him on being inducted this weekend. And the Hall of Fame game, of course, comes your way this weekend here on TSN.
Joe Poplawski also inducted.
Yeah, Dave Cutler, Tom Scott, and Bernie Custis.
Yeah.
Our congratulations to all of them on their well-deserved inductions, and now they'll learn the secret Hall of Fame handshake.
There's a secret handshake?
I don't know. Assuming there is.
It must be.
It's a club.
It must be.
Offside was the call against Calgary. 1st and 5. And the first carry of the game to Mike Moore, and Moore is close to midfield on a gain of 15.
Free agent signing, spent last year on the practice roster, played 4 games last year on special teams, but he's getting a chance to play at the fullback position because Mike Saunders is out. Darren Joseph moves to tailback, and he gets to play a little fullback.
Mike Moore, a Regina Ram product, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders have profited from the strength of the junior program that shares Taylor Field with them. First down, Slack. Lots of time, heaving it deep. And the catch is made by Don Narcisse to the 11-yard line, and the league's all-time leader in receptions has another one.
And don't tell him he can't run fast. Don Narcisse took off down the sideline and outran William Hampton to the football, and Hampton is a speedster on the corner.
Oh, 44-yard gain, and what a throw by Slack.
Well, he put it right where he had to, out in front, and Don Narcisse, when that ball is even close, will come up with it, and another unbelievable catch for Don Narcisse. He's like a human highlight reel.
Now 5 catches for him. Option on first down. Slack takes off. Touchdown! An 11-yard touchdown run for Reggie Slack. And Saskatchewan is right back in the game, down 8 with the point after to come.
All it takes is one big play to ignite your team and get momentum. The Don Narcisse catch was the play, and then this tremendous run by Reggie Slack, and tacklers are dropping off Slack like flies. 3 cracks. Jack Kellogg, Van Bellingham, and Marvin Coleman all had a chance, and no one could bring him down.
McCallum puts the point after up and good. 9.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Saskatchewan trails by a touchdown on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bose. Hope you're enjoying the football game. It is turning into a good one. Let's check in now on the home run race. Sammy Sosa had the first crack at hitting number 64, but he went 0 for 4 today at Wrigley against the Reds, so it was Big Mac's turn later in the evening as the Cards went into County Stadium. McGuire had walked his first AB, and then in the 4th, facing rookie Rafael Roque, and a big fat 3-1 pitch is gone. 417 feet into the left center field bleachers. That is home run number 64. McGuire now has an amazing 175 home runs in his last 3 seasons, and there's still 8 games to go in this one. Elsewhere, the Blue Jays losing to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. As for the Red Sox, they also lost, so as a result, it is still a 5-game differential in that race for the wild card spot.
Hey, you know, there's always one guy that's the last guy off the ice, and that's the kind of guy I designed my equipment for. Made by Winwell, and it's called Don Cherry's Original Series. The Winwell glove, my elbow pads, and my specialty, the Winwell shin pad with this extra protection for your knee. It's the lightest in equipment with the ultimate in protection. Hey, you gotta be able to move out there. It's hockey equipment for hockey players by a guy who played the game. Winwell, it's beauty.
Back in Calgary, the Chrysler Canada scoring drive. 4 plays, 75 yards. Don Narcisse makes a highlight real catch for a 44-yard gain, and Reggie Slack caps it off with an 11-yard touchdown run on the option.
Boy, Don Narcisse, what a year he is having. He is on pace right now for over 1,300 yards on the season, which would be very close to his personal best, which was 1989 when he had 14. That was a few moons ago.
Marvin Coleman from the 12-yard line on the kickoff return. And Coleman, yikes, runs right into Shannon Garrett and gets out to the 36-yard line. A return of 23, and Don Narcisse and Reggie Slack no doubt still talking about this play.
Well, it was a tremendous catch. The throw was right out in front of Narcisse. He ran right down the sideline. Nothing fancy, but it was a huge catch with coverage. Hampton right on his back, and somehow he does it every time. He comes up with that football, and almost another 100-yard game for Don Narcisse. If he stays at this pace and does get over his 1,300 yards, that will tie a CFL record for 8,000-yard seasons in his career. Tyree Allgard.
Now Garcia's turn to go to work. To the sidelines he goes to Terry Vaughn. And Vaughn, with the first down, gets up to the 47-yard line. Jeff Garcia has thrown for touchdowns, run for touchdowns. He's 24 of 38 in the game, close to 300 yards. Reggie Slack is under 50% throwing the football, and has yet to throw a touchdown pass in the game, but his team is down by just 7.
Well, Slack has had a lot of passes dropped. We've talked about that, and Garcia having another typical game against Saskatchewan secondary.
Garcia gives it off to Kelvin Anderson out of the shotgun, and Saskatchewan all over that. Dwayne Patterson, the former Stampeder, was there along with Gary Rogers, and the gain is just 1.
Well, Dwayne Patterson has to provide some pressure, because then if the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to continue to just send 4, it's going to be up to guys like Dwayne Patterson, Herb Coleman, and Ernie Brown to just pin their ears back and try and get some pressure on Garcia. Got to force him to throw it when he doesn't want to.
2nd and long now. Here comes everybody. Garcia gets it away to Vaughn, and he can't make the catch. An aggravated Jeff Garcia leaves the field. He had his man, but he couldn't make the grab. And that's a big, big stop for the Saskatchewan defense with 7:41 to go.
Well, Garcia picks up the blitz because Saskatchewan decides to go with the safety. Vincent Donaldson, 24, right up the middle, and Garcia's mobility gets him to the outside. He does throw a strike, and Terry Vaughn just can't hang on. And Garcia can't believe that.
What do you say? Tony Martino back to punt. And will he take off? No, he pooches the kick, and it's a good one. Caught everyone looking, and this is a big single point for Calgary. Ulmer watches it roll through the end zone, and a lead that was 7 is now 8 as Tony Martino fooled everyone. An 81-yard single.
This year in Canada, there'll be over 140,000 emergency room visits because of asthma. That's why for the first time ever, we're holding asthma clinic days across the country where people with asthma can have a personal consultation with a Health Watch pharmacist and receive a customized asthma plan to help manage this illness, free of charge. If you have asthma, please join us. By doing so, you could very well save yourself a trip to the hospital.
In the stadium, you're really not in the Grey Cup.
Do you savor those extra 10 minutes of sleep every morning? Well, sleep in, because there's someone already making breakfast for you. Did somebody say McDonald's?
Coming up after the game, Lisa Bowes and Dave Randorf have Sports Desk at 2 a.m. Eastern, midnight Mountain, 11 Pacific.
And I think Mark McGuire hit another home run, so we'll likely see that. And interestingly enough, Alan Pitts played minor league baseball with Mark McGuire in California.
They grew up together.
Yeah, and they actually know each other. Played basketball against McGuire as well. I understand McGuire's a pretty good hoopster.
Well, 240 pounds. Slack. The receiver screen to Curtis Mayfield, waiting for a block, and that is Mayfield's first catch of the game up to the 35-yard line. And no gain. It'll be second down.
2 games that Curtis Mayfield played against the Calgary Stampeders prior to tonight. He was the Calgary killer. 9 catches, 236 yards. And 3 touchdowns in those 2 games. And we haven't seen a whole lot of them here tonight, and that's one of the reasons that Saskatchewan has trailed.
Last week he was held to 1 catch for 35 yards. But look at the numbers in the first 2 games, 236 yards and 3 touchdowns for the man known as Cadillac.
Yeah.
Because he's so smooth.
Well, after, I guess, 200-plus yards, the defense sort of figures it out.
Well, you defensive guys are so sharp. 6:48 to go in the 4th quarter. Timeout in the field. Back with more in a moment.
I'm Gordon Cheeseborough, and I'm the president and CEO of Altamira. I'm on a hockey team, on a squash team, on a family team. At the end of the day, virtually everything I do is part of a team, and I guess the biggest team I'm on is the Altamira team. There's so much information. There's so many ideas out there that I would want to know that I had a great team looking at all those ideas. Because when it comes to trusting people with your investments, we want a lot of brain power working for you. It's a great time to be with Altamira.
The game story is brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends. See you tonight. Well, this is what we've seen tonight. What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
Try that again.
Okay, let me try again.
Try it again, okay?
There you go.
Saskatchewan has 50 yards rushing.
Yeah. Well, that's the Mike Saunders factor right there. It's not enough.
Put the pen down. Bronzell Miller, shaken up for Calgary, is making his way off the field. And there's Mike Saunders talking it over with Darren Joseph. So Bronzell Miller's departure from the game means that Calgary won't be able to use its 5-man rotation. You can see what happened.
Go.
Ray Jacobs rolled out.
Ray Jacobs, his own guy, put his head down trying to tackle Mayfield and ended up getting Bronzell Miller. So Jeff Traversy will play a little bit, and he'll play beside Ray Jacobs, Jermaine Miles, and Steve Anderson.
Well, normally Calgary rotates 5 through the 4 spots, and those players actually decide when they'll go in and out.
Right.
2nd and 10, Saskatchewan at the 35. Slack. Shovel pass. And a good one for the fullback, Sean Daniels, who gets out to the 46-yard line. A gain of 10. It should be a Saskatchewan first down, and the first time we've seen that play tonight.
Well, it was a good play by Reggie Slack to Daniels, because Daniels had to come up with a catch. Slack had Jeff Traversy with the fresh legs in for Bronzell Miller right on his back. Somehow got the ball off, and Daniels made the good catch.
Sean Daniels making his way off the field. We're told from the sidelines that Daniels has been battling a bit of a wrist problem. That's why we saw Chris Zarka in at fullback earlier. First down, Saskatchewan. And this is the give off to Mike Moore, number 19, who also takes the place of Daniels. Pickup of 2 on the play. And boy, that single from Tony Martino a moment ago, a big one for the Calgary Stampeders, now an 8-point lead.
You got a guy like Tony Martino. Wally Buono knows that he can give him the green light on that kind of situation. If he sees every one of the returners turning around and running away, Martino has the green light to take off and run on his own. It's not a called fake. But that time, Dan Rasovich kind of sniffed it out, so he had to punt it and got the good kick away.
2nd down, Slack under pressure, flags are down, Slack gets it away, but incomplete. Looking for Zarka. There are actually 2 flags on the play, one at the line of scrimmage and the other in Saskatchewan's offensive backfield. And Calgary's indicating that the call, at least one of them, is against Saskatchewan.
Holding, Saskatchewan 60. Holding, Calgary 29. Down repeated.
It didn't happen. Gene Mikowski's called, so is Eddie Davis, so it's 2nd down over again.
Well, we've seen a couple of safety blitzes from Saskatchewan. We're also going to see one. Wow, that pen's going nuts. We're going to see one from Dave Van Bellingham, but he's picked up in the hole by John Terry. Steve Anderson comes free to the outside, and Slack has to just try and get rid of that one to save the loss.
Glenn?
Yeah.
It's a piece of metal. It can't go nuts.
This pen's going nuts. It's got a mind of its own.
2nd down. Slack gets another chance. Here comes the blitz. Slack gets away. Now unloads, but incomplete to heaven knows who. Reggie Slack fortunate to get away, but Saskatchewan will have to punt with 4:45 to go in the 4th.
Pretty good coverage downfield by the Calgary secondary. Just check this play out from this angle. You can see good zone drops. You got the receivers right in front of you. You're jamming them up, and Reggie Slack just doesn't have the time to find the receivers as they break into their secondary route. You're playing zone defense as a secondary. You got to get your hands on the receivers and disrupt the patterns. If you can do that, you make the quarterback pull the ball down, and now you give your defensive line a chance to get there.
Injured Calgary Stampeder. It's Jason Clement, the middle linebacker, who's done a good job filling in for Anthony McClanahan tonight. And Clement also a very important special teams player for the Calgary Stampeders. It's the one mark of a good organization, Glenn. You know, you look at teams that bring in guys that haven't played before, or guys that haven't been around. Anthony McClanahan's ill. Jason Clement comes in. He's been around the program for a couple of years.
Yeah, no question. And this is Wally Buono's. This is the way he builds his team. You just don't show up and start in the Calgary Stampeders organization, no matter how good you are or where you played prior to arriving in Calgary. Wally Buono wants you on the practice roster for at least a year. You learn the system. You don't have any pressure on you. When it's your turn to play, you step up and you do a good job. He builds from within his organization, depends on the scouting staff, and does a real nice job at it.
Saw Wally Buono there talking to his players. Wally was so wound up last week in Edmonton, he went crazy before the game started. He was mad at his captains because he didn't like the decision they made on the coin toss.
Yeah. Well,
you know he's up for the game when he's peed about the coin toss.
Well, we talked about how angry he was on the sideline, but he said, you know, you had to credit a lot of the veterans, the Marvin Colemans, the Fred Childress, that guys that collected their thoughts on the sideline and made sure the aggression was pointed at the Edmonton Eskimos and not at each other.
Good punt by McCallum. Chases Coleman back to his 20, and Coleman gets out to the 27, a 41-yard punt, and a return of 6. Well, a good crowd here tonight, and attendance has been up in the Canadian Football League all year. This the scene earlier tonight before the game when that man right there, Tom Hunter, was pulled aside. No, they weren't checking for bottles. Tom Hunter is the 1 millionth Canadian Football League fan to go through the turnstiles, and you get the whole bunch of merchandise for that. And guess what? He gets free season tickets for life to the Calgary Stampeders. He's a Saskatchewan Roughrider fan. They said, can you use those season tickets? He says, well, I'll go to the Rider games for sure. Garcia on first down. Out of the backfield for Kelvin Anderson, and Anderson gets up for a gain of 9 to the 38-yard line. And a somewhat bewildered Tom Hunter, who just wanted to come to the game, hasn't stopped smiling since. He got a nice jacket from Calgary president Stan Schwartz. He got some nice merchandise. He's got those free season tickets.
Yeah, well, Tom, he lives in Calgary now, but he said he's a big Rider fan. So what he'll likely do is take that real nice Stamps jacket, take it to the store, go change it in for a green color jacket, and still use his lifetime season tickets here at McMahon Stadium. It's 1 million fans through the turnstile. That's great news.
Oh, it's funny when he said it. They said, "Well, do you think you can use season tickets?" Oh yeah, I'll go to all the Rider
all the Rider games.
Thanks for that. Yeah, because you know I got to buy them all the time, and now I got them for free for life. You know, when they do something like that for you, maybe you got to change teams.
Well, you know, he may. I don't know though. Hey, once you're a Rider fan, you're always a Rider fan.
You know that.
No matter what stadium you're in, there's Riders, there's green and white shirts in the audience.
First down for Calgary as the 3-minute warning approaches. Jeff Garcia in the shotgun, nursing an 8-point lead. Garcia under pressure, and that pass is in the feet of Vince Danielson. It's incomplete, and we have reached the 3-minute warning at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. 26-18, the Stampeders leading, and Calgary looking to run its record to 6-0 against the West, but Saskatchewan still might have something to say about that.
As declared.
Dodge Ram Quadcat. It's got 4 doors, a choice of 4 powerful engines, and plenty of room for up to 6 people.
I feel really close to you guys.
This is one of the most amazing things in the world. You can cut it, shape it, fasten it together, make just about anything you want out of it, and be really proud of what you've done. At Home Building Centers, we buy big, with more stores providing building supplies to people all across Canada. No matter how big a job you're facing, we can help you handle it. Home Building Centers, we've got your lumber.
Back in Calgary, the last time the Calgary Stampeders won here, October 29th, 1989. And that was a pretty good year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Since then, though, the Stamps have won 15 straight against Saskatchewan here. Second down, Jeff Garcia. Under pressure, gets away, can't find anyone open. Now just dumps it off for Alan Pitts, who's got a first down up to the 53-yard line. And, of course, 1989 was the year the Saskatchewan Roughriders won this little bauble, which is actually the size of a license plate. That is Ben Suter's. Oh,
sorry. Let's be careful with it. Can I have that back, please? That's it. You're never touching that again.
It's amazing you didn't try to win another one just to stop from walking in circles all the time.
No, I switch hands so I have balance.
The license plate, huh? You know, when you only won 2, I guess you make them big, huh?
2 in over 100 years, you make them big. We would have covered all 4 knuckles if we could have.
And that is almost a brass knuckle. Jeff Garcia lost the football, and he's very lucky to get it back at his own 43-yard line. We saw that happen to Edmonton last week when Dave Archer tried to pull the ball out and left it on the hip, sort of his running back, and now Garcia has the same thing happen to him.
Yeah, that's what you try and do because you're hiding the ball from the defense. You're actually trying to put it on your hip so when you go around to roll out to your left, the defenders can't see it. They think it's still handed off to the running back. You put it on that hip, but you got to hang on tight, especially when it's wet.
Loss of 9 yards. It's 2nd and 19 with 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Saskatchewan with a stop here and a decent return has a chance to force this game to overtime. And now flags fly before the play gets underway. And is this another dreaded time count or procedure penalty?
Uh-oh, he's not happy.
A huge penalty against Calgary.
Time count violation. Calgary 7. 3rd down. Timer, please reset the game clock to 1:57. 1:57.
We've talked about it a couple of times, but Jeff Garcia earlier in the game called a timeout when he saw Vincent Donaldson come down low from the safety position. Donaldson did it again on that play, and Garcia froze, tried to change the play, and ran out of time. Sometimes disguise can help your defense.
Now Martino to punt, and a great chance for Saskatchewan. High snap, and Martino gets a good kick away. This is Mayfield from the 25-yard line, dragged down immediately by Aldi Henry. A 44-yard punt, a return of just 2, but with 1:47 to go on the clock, Saskatchewan has the ball with a chance to tie this game.
That was a high snap. Martino did a nice job of just going up and pulling that one down, keeping concentration. A lot of time when the kicker has to go out of his normal rhythm, they lose concentration. That's when they shank one. But
boy, Reggie Slack looked like Superman coming out of the phone booth there. Right? Gets rid of the cape and out he comes.
Well, there's a whole bunch of Saskatchewan fans watching, hoping that he is Superman in this drive. I wouldn't be surprised to see number 17 run a little bit with the football in this drive.
Mayfield and Narcisse lined up to the near side of the field. On 1st down, Slack feels the pressure, gets away again, fires it, and it is to Larry Thompson. And Thompson gets up to the 35-yard line with his 2nd catch of the game.
Well, Jeff Travis, he hasn't been in the game that often so far tonight, but with the injury to Bronzell Miller, number 94 has to play. He comes in and has Reggie Slack all wrapped up.
Wow,
not good enough.
He's not Superman, he's Houdini. 2nd down. Oh, look out. Fumble. Calgary saying it has the football. That play was a mess from the beginning. They gave it off to Sean Daniels, and a fumble cost Saskatchewan last week and does again this week.
The frustration is mounting for that man because you don't coach that. You write the play up.
Jeff Traversy, just back in the lineup for Calgary, comes up with the ball. Slack had to reach to put it in there to start with.
It's Traversy who hit. Traversy, number 94, with his left arm, pulls the ball out. Right there, you see 94 lying on the ground, sticks that left hand in there. The ball comes out and bounces right back to him, and he just falls on the football.
1:17 to go, and the give is to Kelvin Anderson. Boy, Saskatchewan couldn't have asked for much more playing in Calgary. With the ball, some time left on the clock. And now Jim Daly's team looks to fall to 3-9 on the year, and the heat will get even hotter in Regina. Just 52 yards rushing for Saskatchewan. And Jeff Garcia has kind of had his way throwing the football with the Saskatchewan defense, but 2 turnovers have been very costly for Saskatchewan. Play fake to Anderson. Now Garcia wants to run. Whoa, look out.
Oh, man.
Dwayne Patterson just dropped a load of bricks on the Calgary quarterback. Whoa. He loosened a couple of buckles on that chin strap, too, I think.
Well, he came from the backside, and it was second effort from Dwayne Patterson.
And there is a flag on the play. There's illegal contact downfield by Saskatchewan. It's an automatic first down. I didn't catch the number. It may have been number 2, Terrell Ulmer.
Well, a big hit by Dwayne Patterson. He comes from the backside, and Jeff Garcia does not see this truck coming.
Oof, look out. But the penalty is a costly one. It'll essentially kill the clock. First down from the 25. Anderson again. He lost the football. Still loose. And Jeff Garcia, fortunate to get it back. Whoa. What a huge break that would have been for Saskatchewan. The loss is 6.
And Garcia walks right over to Kelvin Anderson and doesn't yell at him.
That ball was never in.
He never really had control of it, but he doesn't yell at his running back. He goes over there, taps him on the shoulder, says, listen, at this stage of the game, 41 seconds left, yards are not important. Protect the football at all costs. The great quarterbacks and the great leaders at that position have a knack talking to a receiver who'll just drop a pass or a running back who fumbled it, and go over and tap him on the shoulder and say, listen, you got away with one there. Squeeze that football. And the bolts on the pressure cooker are tightening down a little bit on Jim Daly.
Well, I tell you what. Well, Saskatchewan burns its timeout now. 41 seconds to go. Calgary facing 2nd and 16, and Garcia will simply run it to the middle of the field, take another shot for his trouble, and that'll bring out the field goal unit with 37 seconds to go.
Well, Garcia, I mean, this guy is a competitor. Here's a guy who's trying to get the football into the middle of the field so he gets a nice, easy shot for his field goal kicker. But it's not good enough just to run to the middle and slide down for Garcia. He has to go up there and take 3 or 4 hits from a secondary that is frustrated at this point and just trying to lay a lick on the quarterback.
Mark McLaughlin will try a 30-yard field goal, and Saskatchewan will try everything it can do to block it.
Well, they have to. Calgary wins this game. They win the series. They go back to Saskatchewan with 3 wins against this team.
Clock running. McLaughlin puts it up and through. Calgary, with 14 seconds to go, takes a 29-18 lead. And it's now desperation time for Saskatchewan.
Nice hold by Dickinson and great follow through by McLaughlin. No problem.
You notice why he held that with his left hand?
That's right.
Quarterbacks don't hold with their right hand because they might get their fingers busted up.
Well, it's also the closest hand to the kicker's leg, and you want to pull that other hand out of there when you twist the ball around. But
well, for Saskatchewan, it's been a frustrating month and a half. Without Mike Saunders, they did okay, but now with 14 seconds left, they're pretty much out of bullets. Slack over the middle, and Larry Thompson can't hang on. 9 seconds to go, and Saskatchewan will now go home to play the second half of this home and home.
Well, you think for Jim Daly, back to the first quarter, when he elected to kick 2 long field goals, McCallum missed both. Now, it's easy to second guess from up here, no question about it, but Wally Bono, on the other hand, elected in those situations to punt it and work on field position.
Second down, and Slack will simply fire it out there. The Calgary defenders are playing. I've never seen a 6-deep zone before, but
oh yeah, that's called the prevent.
And 4 seconds to go. A frustrated Reggie Slack and company will try to get ready for the second half of this home and home. Ron Lancaster was saying how much he hates these back-to-backs, these home and homes, but you know what? Hamilton's in position to win its third home and home series of the year, having beaten Montreal, or sorry, not Montreal, having beaten Edmonton in a home and home.
Well, Montreal may have something to say about that on Sunday.
Yeah,
But
they face Montreal on Sunday in a game you'll see. Now Slack on the final play of the game is picked off. William Hampton. One man to beat. Slack forces him back in, and Hampton gets in for the touchdown. What else can you say?
just a little salt in the wounds. William Hampton will take it right into the locker room.
Yeah, he's already home.
Thanks a lot. I'm going to shower up. All in the day's work. You know, you're in the prevent, you're in the secondary, you dream of this one. This is padded the stats, no pressure. You got the game in hand. Miscommunication between quarterback and receiver. One zig should have zagged, and William Hampton gets the gift and then takes it all the way back for the gravy touchdown on the interception, and a little salt in the wound. Jim Daly's got a couple of those wounds, and he knows what the outcome of that play is going to be.
It'll go into the books as a 35-18 win for Calgary. There will be no point after, as William Hampton took the last drive football into the Calgary dressing room. The Calgary Stampeders improved their record to 9-3. Saskatchewan falls to 3-9. Back with more when Anita's Friday Night Football on TSN continues right after this.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won Dirt Devil MVP Swivel Glide Vacuum with patented rear swivel casters and the Ultra Hand Vac with onboard tools. Dirt Devil, powerful vacuums that are incredibly easy to use. Or a Zenith 27-inch digital-ready stereo television with 530 lines of resolution, universal night vision glow-in-the-dark remote, and SEQ front surround sound. Zenith Entertainment, just like they like it. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
The taiko drummers of Japan herald a grand occasion. The all-new 5-passenger Suzuki Grand Vitara V6. From the Grand Canyons of high finance to high adventure. With a 2.5-liter V6 and Drive Select 4x4, it has the power to take you to heights you've never explored before. The Suzuki Grand Vitara V6. All you have to do is drive one. Get into a 1999 Grand Vitara for just $22,995.
Now the most trusted name in winter boots goes to work. Made to take whatever the work could dish out. Sorel protects you better, lasts longer, and feels more comfortable. Get Sorel working for you, whether you're kicking in or just kicking back. Sorel, rugged, Canadian, original.
Got a history, a way of making memories, a place you wanna be. Oh, tonight, it's never been more bright. You see the world in a different light. All right, I'll see you tonight.
Hey, you know, there's always one guy that's the last guy off the ice, and that's the kind of guy I designed my equipment for. Made by Winwell, and it's called Don Cherry's Original Series. The Winwell glove, my elbow pads, and my specialty, the Winwell shin pad with this extra protection for your knee. It's the lightest in equipment with the ultimate in protection. Hey, you gotta be able to move out there. It's hockey equipment for hockey players by a guy who played the game. Winwell, it's beauty.
Jeff Garcia and the Stamps celebrate another victory, 35-18, although it probably wasn't as easy as the score indicates. It was close until the last couple of minutes, and Jeff Garcia joins us right now from Calgary. I know you're cold and you're wet, Jeff, but you have to be happy. The weather looked awful, but another 330-yard-plus passing game. You have to be pleased with that.
Well, especially in the second quarter and the second half. I thought we really did
a great job of moving the ball, spreading the ball around. It was just unfortunate we couldn't get it into the end zone. You know, Saskatchewan tightened up when they had to when we got close to the end zone. But, yeah, I am happy with it. Take away some of the mistakes at the end, the delay of game, the drop ball when I fumbled it. You know, some of those things we need to eliminate. But overall, we're happy with this victory.
Jeff, Eric Tillman, coming off back-to-back games against Edmonton, 2 games in 5 days, games that were both emotional and physical. Were you worried coming in tonight that you might have a little bit of a letdown?
Well, there was kind of a lackadaisical attitude in practice all week long. You know, guys were pretty loose. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. We did come off 2 big victories. I think we were, you know, a little bit worried about having a letdown. And Saskatchewan coming off a tough loss against Winnipeg, you know, they wanted to try to get back on track. And I think we saw that early in the first quarter. We weren't moving the ball that well. Fortunately, our defense was answering the bell. They were playing well. It took us a little while to get going. Finally, we did.
Jeff, Chris Schultz here. After 12 football games, you guys are starting to create separation in the West. How do you keep your focus, and what role do you play trying to continue to win games and really develop playoff momentum?
Well, I think the great thing is that we have a great attitude during practice. Everybody works hard. Guys are hitting the weights, studying film. It's just a great attitude around the locker room. And, you know, I think that's one of the main things right there. And I think a lot of that is we're winning. When you're winning, everybody's in a good mood. Everybody wants to come to practice. Everybody's ready to go. And we need to keep going forward. We need to take one game at a time. We have, you know, 6 tough ones left before the playoffs come. And we want to keep moving forward, keep building on what we're doing, and hit the playoffs in full stride.
Jeff, you've had more stitches this year than most boxers. I mean, you just play, your style is so reckless, you play with abandon. At some point, are you going to try to temper your game, or is that just you?
Well, you know, I think when you look at the stitches or the hits that I take when I do get the stitches, they're happening within the pocket. It's not when I take off running or anything like that. It's happening when I'm, you know, pretty much extended out, throwing the ball, and a guy's getting under my chin and drilling me into the turf. And unfortunately, those things happen. I've changed my face mask to kind of give me a little bit more protection on the chin. Yeah, I do believe that there are times when I need to get down. Late in the game, I should have maybe got down a little sooner. But, you know, I feel good right now. I'm not hurting. You know, I'm ready to go. That's just type of player I am.
Jeff, one of the observations that Eric and I were making, that is tonight's football game in particular, you were moving effectively in the pocket. Do you have a time count in your mind that after 3 or 4 seconds it's time to go? Or what senses do you just feel when pressure's about to be upon you?
There is a bit of a time count. You know, I think a couple seconds, then I need to move a little bit. If my first 2 reads, if they're not there, I want to buy a little time, whether that's stepping up in the pocket, possibly taking off running. Anything to kind of keep the defense off balance. And I think we were able to utilize that. We're able to do a good job with that. Even when they blitz, I buy time by getting more depth, and I'm able to find guys downfield. And so I think by doing those sort of things, we're very effective offensively.
All right, Jeff, congratulations. You run for a touchdown. You pass for another one. Your team moves to 9-3. Go get dry.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jeff Garcia, the quarterback of the Calgary Stampeders, who solidify their role as #1 in the West. They are now 9-3, and we'll be back with a lot more coming right up.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
I can see clearly now.
What you have is an insurance claim. What you really want at a time like this is help and understanding. At Royal and Sun Alliance Insurance, meeting your needs with 24-hour claim service is just forward thinking. Call for a Royal and Sun Alliance broker near you.
This year in Canada, there'll be over 140,000 emergency room visits because of asthma. That's why for the first time ever, we're holding asthma clinic days across the country, where people with asthma can have a personal consultation with a Health Watch pharmacist and receive a customized asthma plan to help manage this illness, free of charge. If you have asthma, please join us. By doing so, you could very well save yourself a trip to the hospital.
Hey, you know, there's always one guy that's the last guy off the ice, and that's the kind of guy I designed my equipment for. Made by Winwell, and it's called Don Cherry's Original Series. The Winwell glove, my elbow pads, and my specialty, the Winwell shin pad with this extra protection for your knee. It's the lightest in equipment with the ultimate in protection. Hey, you gotta be able to move out there. It's hockey equipment for hockey players by a guy who played the game. Winwell, it's beauty.
Get ready for the Gillette World Racing Fantasy. The winner will be part of the action around the racing world. First stop, Japan, as a VIP member of the Williams team. Meet Jacques Villeneuve and Heinz Harold Frentzen. Then to England for an exclusive tour of the Williams facility. Finally, in Montreal, experience the thrill of the race and get behind the wheel at a racing school and take home $25,000. The Gillette Williams World Racing Fantasy. Enter where Gillette products are sold.
Welcome back. William Hampton padding the stats a little bit. He goes for 6 on the game's final play as his Stampeders beat Saskatchewan 35-18 is the final score. And the Stamps starting to create some serious separation in the West Division there on top. And Wally Buono joins us now. Wally, last week when we had you, you didn't look too happy all game long. I know your wife gave you a little bit of trouble for that. You seem a little more pleased tonight.
Well, I was pleased when you consider the emotional ups and downs of the two games, especially with Labor Day Friday. I thought our team responded very well. You know, obviously we were a little bit slow out of the blocks. I thought both quarterbacks had difficulty with all the moisture out there, but I thought Jeff did a good job of adjusting, and we got enough points to win.
Wally, Eric Tillman, with the win tonight, you're now 9-3. You just came off the back-to-back wins against Edmonton that you alluded to. As a head coach, how much of a challenge is it now to keep your team operating at its maximum potential, mentally focused, as you get ready for the playoffs when you've got that kind of cushion?
Well, I think, Eric, what we have is history on our side. You know, we've done this before, and in the playoffs, we've not had the success that we wanted. So I think the guys are really focused. I mean, I think they showed tonight it would have been easy for these guys to come out flat, and they didn't do that. I thought our defense played tremendous. We're very aggressive. Offensively, we did a lot of good things. If we catch the ball a little bit better, if we throw a little bit better, maybe the score is even that much more.
Wally, you talked about your defense being aggressive, and you had a young linebacker in there by the name of Jason Clement taking care of the position that has the maximum amount of responsibility in run and pass. Did you have any hesitation or reservation starting him in that position, or was he prepared to go? Because he looked pretty good.
No, he was prepared. I think the thing that was good is that he got all the reps in practice. And, you know, Jason's a good athlete. He's paid his dues on special teams. And I know he was very anxious to get to start. And, you know, I was proud of him. I was pleased for him. And, again, good young players like that, sometimes when you give them the opportunity, they really jump on it. And, you know, Jason just made our team that much better.
Wally, congratulations.
Thank you.
Enjoy this one.
We will.
A very wet night in Calgary, but the Stamps all warm and fuzzy. They improved to 9-3 and all alone on top of the West Division. We'll be right back, folks.
Your favorite CFL team now has their logo on your favorite credit card. It's the CFL MasterCard credit card. Support your team and take advantage of the benefits that over 346 million MasterCard cardholders worldwide are enjoying. Each stylized card has your team's logo on it. So support your team 12 months a year and pull out your card. Call 1-877-4CFL now for your CFL MasterCard credit card. When you pay with us, you play with us.
So you won't believe what my 3-year-old son did the other day.
This man just finished planning his investments with Canada Trust.
The little guy flushed my watch down the toilet.
Our investment knowledge and expertise has made him feel so comfortable.
It was a vintage timepiece, Swiss movement. My dad gave it to me.
He now feels he can talk to us about anything.
I just wish he was more predictable. Like those GICs I bought from you.
Canada Trust. Investing can be this comfortable.
You have safety deposit boxes, don't you?
When back pain begins to cramp your style, ordinary pain relievers often aren't enough. Doctors and pharmacists recommend Robaxacet. It combines 2 active ingredients, one to relieve your back pain, the other to relax your tense back muscles. Now available in extra strength. Robaxacet, helping you walk away from back pain.
Time now for our Keg Game Ball. It goes to Jeff Garcia. Another big night for the guy who's likely the leading candidate to be the MVP, at least, of the Western Division. It's brought to you by the Keg. Good friends, great steaks. Schulte wants one. See you tonight.
Zero to your heart in 1 second flat. The Audi A6.
Gang members drive around at night with their headlights off when someone goes to flash on their high beams to warn them.
Isn't there another story about a guy in a woman's backseat?
Urban legend. The stories are coming true.
Call 911!
And you're next. Opens everywhere Friday.
It's the way we welcome the sun with 35 sunblock. The way some of the best water now mostly comes in bottles. It's the way we make time for exercise and like to enjoy reading. Today, more and more people are finding reasons to take better care of themselves. That's why Subway offers 7 subs, each under 6 grams of fat. Because when you're through surfing, you might want to go for a swim. Subway, it's the way a sandwich should be.
Right now, it's just a hunk of shiny wood. But when he swings it, it's a hunk of burning love. Thank you very much.
The weekend has just begun. Lots more football ahead for you. Tomorrow we've got Winnipeg and Toronto, those streaking Bombers, winners of 1 in a row. And CBC has Edmonton and BC tomorrow night. And then the big one on Sunday, Montreal and Hamilton, the Hall of Fame game. The Owls looking to get back into a tie for first place in the Eastern Division. It's a full weekend of football for you. Enjoy it, everybody, and we will be back.
TSN has the big spike. The Labatt Pro Beach Volleyball Tour National Championships. Sunday on TSN.
TSN continues a long, strong soccer tradition. Turn to TSN Sundays for all the news from soccer leagues around the world. TSN World of Soccer, Sundays only on TSN.
Here are your final stats. Yes, who cares about the rain when you're the Calgary Stampeders? 331 yards passing and 3 big turnovers for Saskatchewan, especially that fumble down near the end of the game. That was especially costly. And you know, it's tough enough to go into Calgary and win in the first place. But Eric Tillman, when you're missing a key guy, that makes it doubly tough for Saskatchewan.
Well, James, you had to feel for Jim Daly. You know, one of the really nice guys in the game. As you said, Calgary's a tough enough place to play anyway, without going in with your key, without your key weapon, you know, Mike Saunders. Mike is just having a terrific football season. He's brought a dimension to the Saskatchewan team that they desperately needed tonight. And without him, it was like fighting a fight with one hand behind their back. I mean, I thought they played very game and showed a lot of effort tonight, but they just weren't talented enough to face up and match up well against this Calgary football team.
Calgary is a talented football game, and I think the one thing that they have to have is the fact that they have to stay healthy. They got to keep Pitts healthy. You got to keep Danielson healthy. You got to keep your key components, your key players, the players that you depend on game in and game out, healthy And if you're healthy, you're going to stay focused. Remember, many times Calgary, as the season progresses, gets this separation from first place to last place, gets in the playoffs, and doesn't necessarily do that well. Your mental toughness starts right now for Calgary, and keeping focused game in and game out. So then as you progress in the playoffs, it's not unnatural to be prepared and be able to perform in a key game.
Is the West over? Has Calgary wrapped it up?
Possibly so. You really never know in terms of the Canadian Football League, because there's always an opportunity to come from behind and win, and everything is so tight in terms of the league. But I really think right now they are the class of the league because they are so balanced. And when you have a balanced football team, that means if one phase of your football team is not working, you have something else to adjust to and rely on. Calgary's the best in the league, I think.
Two teams with opposite records after tonight. Calgary is now 9-3. Saskatchewan falls to 3-9. And as we said, yes, Calgary starting to create some real separation in the West Division. They have a 2-game lead on the Eskimos. We'll be back.
Introducing new McCain Golden Crisp Waffles, made waffle iron thick to stay fluffy on the inside while toasting up golden and crisp on the outside. Treat yourself to the real waffle iron taste of new McCain Golden Crisp Waffles. Waffle iron thick to toast up light and crispy every time.
The 70s. Vinyl is king, and the king of vinyl is the 12-inch LP. This was the blueprint for today's CDs, like Much Music's chart-topping Big Shiny Tunes. Now, Levi's, the blueprint for jeans, wants you to make the blueprint for Big Shiny Tunes 3. Get down to any original Levi's store or HMV location. Look for the Choose Your Tunes display and write down the 3 songs you want to see included on Much Music's Big Shiny Tunes 3. So, choose your tunes, make the blueprint for Much's Big Shiny Tunes 3, and help make history. Levi's, the blueprint for jeans.
This is one of the most amazing things in the world. You can cut it, shape it, fasten it together, make just about anything you want out of it, and be really proud of what you've done. At Home Building Centers, we buy big, with more stores providing building supplies to people all across Canada. No matter how big a job you're facing, we can help you handle it. Home Building Centers, we've got your lumber.
Welcome back. Let's set up the rest of the weekend for you. 3 games on tap. We'll begin with Winnipeg and Toronto. Yes, those red-hot Bombers. And who is this guy, Troy Kopp, and is he for real? And can they do it again against the Argos tomorrow?
Well, Kopp certainly played very well last week in the 4th quarter, but I think we'll find out a lot more about him tomorrow. You know, he came in, the things that I understand from talking to the Winnipeg coaching staff this week, in the 4th quarter when they were down, he went in the huddle and he absolutely took over. The guys respected him. He said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to find a way to win. When they started getting some momentum, he was trash-talking a little bit. Winnipeg goes in with a feeling of optimism. But the flip side of that is Toronto's had an opportunity to see him on film, and he's had a week to get a little nervous. So I think we'll get a truer picture, Chris, tomorrow of Kopp.
And that is exactly right, because it's one thing for a quarterback to come off the bench and lead a team to victory. It's another thing for a quarterback to start a game right from the first quarter, have some film that Toronto defensive team can look at and try to implement a game plan. Some quarterbacks are pretty good coming off the bench. Sure, they get in your face and they bring up the emotion and they make some plays. The really great ones are the ones that can take a game plan from the beginning, execute it for the full length of the game. We'll see what Troy Kopp is like if he can play in our league tomorrow, if he can execute an efficient game plan. But I'll tell you what, Winnipeg has one thing going for him. Milt Stegall, Shante Peoples, Grant Carter, they've got some better personnel. It should be a little bit closer, James, than people think.
Okay, a Western battle tomorrow night, BC and Edmonton, a couple of struggling teams, but the Lions have started to look a little bit better the last couple of weeks.
Well, definitely they've responded under Greg Mons. There's no question about that. Adam Rita is a terrifically nice guy, and unfortunately, I think some of the players didn't step forward and played for him. Greg made it be known from day one, if you don't play, if you don't produce, you're gone. Anyone that was at the game last week realized that the BC Lions were in position to play. They played against a very good and talented Toronto team and played them blow for blow, punch for punch all the way to the end. It should be a heck of a game tomorrow, Chris.
And the reason they were blow for blow and punch for punch is obvious to me. The defensive line of the BC Lions has improved with the addition of a young kid by the name of Herman Smith, number 91. He's got some talent. You added Dave Chaters to that, you added Johnny Scott to that, and you added David Benefield to that. You have some great upfield push in the middle, and you got some great edge speed. They are going to have an opportunity to put some pressure on the Edmonton Eskimos. Anytime you put pressure, there's an opportunity for turnovers. They're playing at home. In a lot of ways, what I saw of BC is they were on the verge of doing some great things. They lost that game last week to Toronto in the last 5 minutes. Up to that point, that was their football game. But they're starting to take over. The defense offensive line play. And, James, that can prove big in a game like this.
Now, we'll be back Sunday with the big one, Hamilton and Montreal in the Hall of Fame game. And I tell you what, the Ticats were complaining all week that they don't get any respect. We're giving you respect. You guys are good, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, winning 2 games in Montreal, that says an awful lot about the Hamilton Ticats. It's really a must-win situation for the Montreal Alouettes tomorrow if they want to get home field advantage. They have to come out, on Sunday, they have to come out and play very well. It should be a great football game on Sunday, Chris.
I think it will, but this is one of those games, again, where I like defensive coordinator Don Sutherland, the fact that the Hamilton Ticats play 4 down linemen, and they don't get beat at the point of attack, which really relates to how well you can stop a Pringle as your #1 offensive threat with the Montreal Alouettes. More than anything else, Montreal needs to have a little bit more of a balanced offense. They need some big plays to beat Hamilton at home. If Hamilton wins this game and they get that home field advantage, they're going to have a great shot to go all the way.
Should be fun. I get to spend the whole weekend with my friends Eric and Chris. Now, before the game tomorrow, get up a little bit early and watch John Wells and Sports Desk Extra. He's got Jeff Reinbold with him. We'll be back.
Time was we could do anything we wanted to, but now there's nothing left to prove. Oh, tonight it's never been more right. You see the world in a different light. All right, I'll see you tonight.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you by Adidas, the official sponsor of the CFL. By Gatorade, is it in you? And by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks and good friends, see you tonight.
And we'll see you tomorrow. We're back tomorrow afternoon with the Bombers and the Argos. And then Sunday, once again, Montreal and Hamilton. The Owls trying to move back into a tie for first in the East. And here the Stamps do it. 35-18 is the final. They move to 9-3. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
TSN Pacific Prime.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bose. The Blue Jays struggling to keep their slim hopes alive in the wild card chase, trailing Boston by 5 going into tonight's action. Jays down in Tampa Bay, and it is Jose Canseco that gets Toronto on the board. A solo shot in the first inning. That's number 43 for Jose. But in the bottom of the frame, some sloppy D by the Jays. Rich Butler's grounder is fielded by Delgado, and then a bad throw to Escobar covering. 2 runs are in on the error. 3-1 D-Rays. Paul Sorrento then adds to the lead in the third with a 2-run shot. They are now up 5-1, and they would add 1 more for a 6-1 Tampa Bay final. So the Jays lose again, still winless at Tropicana Field this season. As for the Red Sox, they also lost to the White Sox, so it is a 5-game differential in that chase for the wild card spot. Off the Record is coming up right after this.
Today on Off the Record, Canada opens up a can of whoop-ass at the Commonwealth Games. The Blue Jays are asking, when did it all end? Maybe they should ask Joe Torre. We'll kick around some ideas about that and controversy in college football with rampaging Jeff Reinbold.
Record with Michael Landsberg. Brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar.
You know, usually the show begins and it takes a couple of minutes before one of the guests annoys you, but it actually happened just before we went to air. Good to welcome you. Good to welcome you at home to Off the Record. My name is Michael Landsberg. Let's meet the panel. This guy has not annoyed me. I've been a fan of his for years. Jeff Reinbold, the head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, also a former defensive back at the University of Maine. Great